Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam, and joining me tonight as ever we have Chemo and Leon. Hope you guys are well. I had good feedback from the last episode. People kind of enjoyed us, just going around the table picking the odd fight, being Danny Garcia-esque cherry pickers. So I think we kind of should continue that this week. So Leon, I'll start with you. Chemo went first last time, so you go first this time. Pick a fight that you want to discuss that occurred between today and the last episode.
And what was the last episode? What was that? Why do you do this to me, Cam? We just said off air I can't remember any fights.
You can't remember.
Throw me under the bus straight away.
How bad is your memory if you can't remember one fight that you enjoyed between today and last month? Like, I think the marijuana's taking a bad effect on you, man.
The paranoia's kicking in, mate.
Definitely.
Oh.
All right,
Go on, Leon. I can help you out. I can help you out.
Let's get Crawler
Let's
out
do
the way.
Lomo, Crawler.
All right, go on. You start then.
Me.
Did you even watch
I
it?
just had to name the fight, and then you lot get on with it.
Nah, it's not that easy, mate.
No. Well, I'm only mentioning Crawler because we literally mentioned it 2 seconds ago. Yeah, but I can't remember the last time so many people were so right. I mean, everyone. It was unbelievable. It was extraordinary kind of golfing class. It was worse than I imagined. Didn't you think it was worse? It looked worse than you imagined it to be. Like your image of it going into the fight, you thought, well, it's not going to be that bad. It's just head down, arse in the air. That one is just, it was a brutal knockout. That was dangerous putting him in there.
Leon, I'm more pissed.
But was so brave, though, wasn't he?
So brave. So very brave.
I'm more pissed off with Crawler for getting knocked out and damaging Loma's hand now, because that's just delayed me seeing my boy Loma again.
Wow, that's
coming over here and Aoife Campbell.
Yeah, another Brit down, man down.
Don't know what's going on with Eddie, but he's making other, not very Brexity of it. Is it making lots of foreigners rich?
Well, you know what though?
I think it's beating the shit out of his fighters.
Well, it's funny because I think he was hoping to get
foreigner coming over here, knocking out our best.
I think Fast Eddie was hoping to get Devin Haney versus Luke Campbell for the vacant, and when WBC came out of the blue and said they're gonna let a belt holder fight for the vacant WBC, in Loma, I thought, wow, they're just trying to get Loma a belt so he can advertise the organization and just give him more money, man. That's all it is. But yeah, that was Eddie was pissed after that. You could tell. Yeah,
I mean, and what does it do for Lomachenko? I don't, it's just him fighting Campbell. If that's really going to be next, I can't. We get to see him live. I guess everyone would go and see him, but what it does for his legacy and the people who don't believe in him, it's just adding fuel to the fire, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we all know who we're talking about.
Yeah. Chemo, question for you.
Yeah.
Jack Reese, did he fuck up by giving Crawler that standing count? Like, I understand why he did it. He wanted to give him the opportunity, because when a guy's just, high guard, not throwing anything back, they always complain afterwards, saying, nah, I was about to throw something or some shit. So he gave him the opportunity, but by doing that, he's got iced probably even worse than he should have, and then obviously now Loma's broke his hand.
That's a good question, Cam. I'm not too sure, to be honest, if it led to him getting knocked out. I think that maybe was just inevitable. I'm personally not a huge fan of standing 8 counts, man. Like, I'd rather, as brutal as it sounds, I'd rather just see the guy go down. If a guy is kind of helpless standing up on the ropes, then and he's getting pasted, then just stop the fight. Like, I don't see the point in, kind of giving the guy a little break if he hasn't gone down.
But isn't it because they're saying the ropes hold him up? But I don't. I'm with you.
Yeah, okay, but then it's
rubbish.
Just a knock.
It's just a knockout.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really like the rule, man. Look, I was surprised because Loma is not known to be a violent knockout artist, right? But that was pretty fucking intense, and I don't think anybody expected that, like Leon said.
But Crolla is, he's at his wrong weight. He's well past his best. Like, there was I know we laughed last episode about a few people who were like, come on, Crolla's got this kind of nonsense on Twitter. But most people were livid about the matchup, weren't they? Most people thought it was a joke. And then, Crolla and everyone went on the defensive because they thought we were being disrespectful to him. It's like, no, we're just being furious with people for letting it happen.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You know what's going to happen, and we told you, and we all said it, and we were all right. So it was, it was a fucking no-brainer, really, wasn't it? The outcome.
No, yeah, 100%. Like, there was backlash afterwards. You heard, like, Andy Clark going on the offensive, defending Crolla, saying, he's fought for the opportunity to fight the champion, blah, blah, blah. But like Leon said, everyone knew, and no one was wrong. Everyone knew that what was going to happen. And Kimo mentioned, like, the brutal knockout, but I think that right hook just landed exactly where that breeze block landed. What do you think, Leon?
On top of the head, yeah. When he was might well be right.
Yeah, when he was trying to stop his burglars robbing his next door neighbour's house, but yeah, man.
we picked round 5, 6, and 7 last time, so like it was worse than we thought.
Yeah.
Like, but he was it was a proper beatdown, wasn't it? Like, he beat him up for a long period of time before I see him. He was just smacking him around, really, wasn't he?
Crolla didn't offer anything, to be honest. It was just a terrible performance, man. It's
like, but he was moving him, wasn't he? Like, he was hitting him, and he was like moving around the ring.
Yeah,
like he wasn't standing there taking him. He was getting badly damaged by almost everything that landed. It seemed
he was fucking rocking him around like a piñata, man. It was brutal. And the thing is, like, I usually kind of saw Crolla as a defensive fighter. Not that his defense is particularly good, but he is quite defensive in the way that he kind of operates in the ring. And he just had no answer defensively for Loma's punches. Like, anything that was kind of creative, which is most of what Loma throws, would hit him flush. And he just... It was pretty brutal, man. But Cam, just to touch quick on why people were pissed at this, I think it's twofold, man. Like, one thing is... If he properly moved up in the ranks to face Lomachenko, like some of the other past opponents have, and in the back of our heads we still know that he's going to get outclassed, I would have less of a problem with it. But it seemed to be, there's a vibe around Crolla that the best is well past him, and this kind of just came out of the blue. Like, I don't give a fuck whether it is a mandatory or not. Like, it just came out of the blue for me, man. Competitively, it doesn't make sense. And also, like, from a progression standpoint, it just didn't make sense, man. And Eddie was also pissed about the fact that I think it kind of backfired because he does this a lot, right? He sends these guys to take a chance. Yeah, a la Liam Smith to Canelo, for example.
Or Lee Purdy, like the list, Gavin Reese, the list goes on. Brian Rose.
Exactly. And his argument is always, is get money, right?
Mortgage.
And what are you going to do? Turn it down? No, you have to take the opportunity. That's always his fucking answer, right? Well, now it really backfired. And obviously, with the kind of overall sentiment in the UK over the last couple of years, given that we've had some tragic instances as well, like, it looks fucking bad upon him to send him over there to his doom. And, what can I say?
You wouldn't want to see Crolla fight again, would you? After that beating, you wouldn't want to see him fight again, really.
No. He needs to call it.
He'll get iced by a British level guy now, I think. The damage has been done.
It's just bad. I mean, like you said, it was consistent as well. The knockout didn't come out of the blue. Like, he took a beating. And even though the fight wasn't that long, it was a sustained beating. And this will basically, accelerate the downfall of his career completely, right? So The only thing I can see for him going forward is and he doesn't have this because he's a nice guy, but if he had some sort of, domestic level grudge match, he could cash in on that. But he doesn't have that, right?
But he took the worst beating of his life, and like that only happens like that. Like, a beating like that only happens right at the end. Really, like if he'd been younger, he might have lasted a bit longer. But like, you could tell he was at the end.
And he's just there with a guy who's, let's not only talk about Crolla, right? Let's also talk about Lomachenko. The guy is just, even though he's fighting somebody who's much lesser than him, I feel like this guy is. I don't think he's peaked yet, man. For some reason, like he's not the youngest guy in the world, but I feel like he is just in the pro game. He's in the pro game. He's still evolving, right? And he's just having fun in there, man. Like the guy, he just enjoys it, and he's so creative with everything that he sets up, man. It's a pleasure to watch. And once he starts getting a little violent as well, like sign me up, right? Because before it was more finesse, right?
Now, like we always used to say, and Ari used to say as well, he doesn't play with his food anymore at all, does he? He does not play with his food. Like he just gets on with it. He's much more attuned to. He knows what that a fight like that is there for him to do, right?
He lets his hands go.
Just beat this guy up, get out of there.
Kimo, to your point about not seeing the best of him yet, I agree, and I think we will when people of high caliber want to start fighting him again. Like, I thought his performance against Linares was excellent because he kind of went through a bit of adversity, getting dropped and that, and then you see him come back and stop him to the body and shit. And I think once maybe Tank wants to fight him, maybe a rematch with Gary Russell at 130 or something, or just other high caliber guys, I think we'll see him kind of step up to another level. But regarding Fast Eddie just sending people over for paying their mortgages, I agree, but you did make one error because Liam Smith was with Warren when he fought Canelo, so I just wanted to correct.
Correct. You're right.
But
Rocky from Stocky then.
But I'm going to get into that because I got some stuff to say about Canelo and his weight. Well, he's been at it for a while, but we'll get to that later. Are we all done?
Go on, Cam.
Are we all done on Lomachenko?
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, I'd love to talk more about the guy, but there's just not a lot to mention on this particular fight.
Yeah. All right, Kimo, you offer a fight to discuss then.
I want to talk about Josh Taylor, man. Fuck it, let's do it. I'm a little bit worried about Josh, man. Like as any Josh Taylor fight, like I fucking love watching the guy. I mean, I can keep going on and on and on about this. The dude's upper body movement is maybe the best I've seen in boxing right now. Like it's just incredible. The way he just fucking moves around. He's so fluid. And once he lets his hands go, it's an absolute thing of beauty. Cam, I forgot the guy's name that he fought because it's a bit difficult to pronounce. Branchik, yeah, exactly. He was extremely crude, man. Like the guy was fucking winging it from his hips. He seemed to have a little bit of power because I think Taylor respected him in there. Like he didn't really take that many risks throughout the fight. I thought in spurts he fought a little bit conservative as well, Taylor. But Banchak was just like, he's just a tough motherfucker who would wing shots once in a while. But he didn't have a lot to offer in terms of skill. There was that one moment where he got knocked down with that, I think it was a right hook. Fucking peach of a shot, man. I mean, Taylor, when he's on, it's pure magic. But I feel like also he's getting a little bit of a Canelo syndrome where I think he has trouble making the weight. At least it's not easy for him. And especially in this fight, I seem to pick up on that sometimes he's just, not trying to exert himself too much to save energy. Maybe I'm completely off here. I mean, I don't know what's in the guy's head, obviously. But I feel like in previous fights, I've seen him a little bit more active. And the fact that he just respected the guy a little bit too much, I thought, because once they started exchanging, you could see the class, right? And it really came to light in exchanges where Taylor would just fucking duck and dodge and just counter it beautifully. So, I mean, I enjoyed the fight. The finale is going to be fucking sick, I can tell you that. What did you think, Leon? And have you watched it?
Yeah, I have. I watched it again today. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this fight. And yeah, that guy is a bit crude, but like he's a tough, like you said, he's a tough guy. He's been in with some okay guys. So I think for Taylor, it's a good win. Like it's a valid win. And I think he got tested enough with the guy's size and he took some good shot. He showed he's got a good chin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Yeah, and he's just very, very good on the inside. And for a British fighter, it's great to see. And he looked really big in there, I thought. Like, I think he's going to look a lot bigger than Prograis, like, next to each other. Like he seems like quite a small 140, but I might be wrong. But I think Taylor will have a big size difference.
No, I think he's quite a bit bigger. I seen him after the fight, stood next to Prograis, while Taylor was kind of shitting on Prograis' Gucci shoes, thinking like, what are those, man? What are you wearing? But yeah, there's definitely size. The fight was decent. I don't know. First maybe 2-3 rounds, I thought Taylor's distance was off a bit because Baranchyk was always kind of lunging forward, and then Taylor would always step in with his jab and his backhand. And I'm thinking, well, if he's going forward and you're going forward, your punches are going to land behind each other, and that's what was happening, like kind of clipping the back of the heads and just like missing altogether and going around the back. And then later on, Josh kind of adjusted and he wasn't stepping in as much. But I actually agree with your point, Kimo. I noticed rounds where for the first 2 minutes, it seems like Taylor was doing stuff, but he wasn't. He'd like kind of just like throw the jab out with like a slow one just to kind of range, and then move, and then do it again, and then a bit of feinting, and then move to the side again. And like he looks like he's working, but he's not really doing anything. So I don't know whether that was just taking a breather after a heavy round the round before, or to your point, maybe the weight is becoming an issue now. Now him becoming a belt holder, he'll obviously be able to fight Prograis, and maybe after that he might just step up. We don't know. He is quite adamant that he's makes the weight comfortable. You always hear, the analysts and the commentators say that when they spoke to him before the fight, but obviously most boxers always say that, and then next minute they're moving up weight, so we don't really know.
But Cam, by the eye test, like when you look at him on the scales, he doesn't look like particularly great, right?
You were in Glasgow when he fought O'Hara, and that was like 2 years ago, and you said he looked like a skeleton. He was proper drawn in the face.
Yeah, I remember texting you. I was at the weigh-in, right? So I was there, and I was like looking at him like, holy fuck, this guy looks fucking...
And
he looks gaunt.
That was 2 years ago, so obviously now he's got 2 more years of age on his body, wear and tear on his body, so it makes sense.
Man, he walked right past me, man, and his eyes were like... I don't know, man. He looked like a fucking crackhead after a long rave. You know what I mean? It wasn't too good. But look, he might just be very disciplined and always make the weight, but that doesn't mean that it's your optimal weight. And when you look at his frame as well, like he is quite lanky in there, right? I think he could fill out nicely at welter, but obviously he's the type of guy who will stretch that and take advantage of the size, while he can still make that weight. Who knows, man? Maybe after this is done and he gets all the accolades, like he will move up. We don't know that. But I do sense that he's just holding back a little bit, man, especially during this fight.
All right. Irish Tom in the Mixler chat has made a bold statement about he thinks that Prograis will win the fight quite easy against Taylor. We'll stick to the World Boxing.
But what's that? That's one thing I'd say. Like I feel like I know more who Taylor is, like as a fighter and the people he's fought. Like let's be honest, the Prograis, like beating up Turbo Terry and like the victim of Ricky Burns. But the boogeyman's coming, is it really?
The thing about Prograis, though, he's heavy-handed in both hands.
He's not Candyman. He's not scary.
It's interesting to see how Taylor's going to take the power, because even Baranchyk kind of rocked him. There was one round where Taylor got caught and he was kind of on the defensive a bit. So I think if Prograis hurts him, will that change the way Taylor, fights for the rest of the...
Yeah, but what if Taylor hurt... I just think it's a 50-50 fight. Like, what if Taylor can get to him and he can hurt him? It's like Prograis not... He's good, right? He is really good. But I just feel that Taylor at this point is more tested. So it must give him some advantage. Like, trust in his skills a bit more. Because I've seen it against...
I think we have more... I think we have more clarity on Taylor. Like we know what he does really, really well, and we also know what he doesn't do well, right? I think stylistically, though, Prograis might be a little bit of an issue with him because he's kind of strong at that mid-range. You know what I mean? And Taylor, I find they were saying this during the fight as well on commentary. They were urging Taylor, and by the way, I need to talk about commentary, Cam. Please don't forget that. They were urging Taylor to box on the outside, and I was like, why would you want the guy to box on the outside? You have a guy in front of you who lunges with these wild shots that will only really connect if you're at distance from him, right? Because he's just jumping forward. And when they're standing in the pocket, it's night and day. Like, Taylor is so much more successful. So I don't really get why, they were under the impression that Taylor has to fight on the outside because he's some sort of slick boxer, who likes to keep his distance. I totally disagree with that. Like, I don't get that at all from him. And I think he's the strongest in the pocket. And the thing I'm just worried about is if he's kind of stands at that mid-range, like, Regis is going to be able to land bombs on him, right? Because, again, defensively, he is a little bit flawed, Taylor, even though he's slick, but he can get hit, right? The other thing is, how will Prograis take the body shots as well? Because if Taylor commits that shit, it is tough to deal with, man. We saw it against in this fight as well. Like, he just finds that opening and just whacks it in there beautifully, man.
I'm so looking forward to that fight, man. I think that's why we love the World Boxing Super Series, man, because we're getting two of the best guys at 140. They're going to fight each other.
Cam, where is this fight going to be?
No idea. Like, it might be in Saudi Arabia like last time.
Fuck me, man. I hope, man, honestly, I know it's going to be neutral territory, but if this was in Scotland, I would probably make the trip.
Yeah, I think they'll probably put it neutral, but yeah, if it's Scotland, man, we'll have a coalition party. But getting back to the commentary, Chemo, for people that don't know, in the UK, Sky have picked up the rights, so they had their own commentary team on duty, but the World Boxing Super Series had Jim Rosenthal, the ITV legend, if people remember him.
Oh, really? Did they?
Yeah, you need to listen to it on Daily Motion, mate. Because Frampton was with him as well, and fucking Frampton was excellent, I thought, Chemo. What about you?
Mate, listen, the guy, what's his name again? The lead commentator?
Jim Rosenthal.
Jim Rosenthal.
Jim, okay.
Nice now.
Okay, listen, this fucking guy's voice is just gold. I could listen to him all day. He is absolutely fantastic. And I mean, it's so refreshing to hear this because I've also been listening to the trash that is Sergio Mora on DAZN, for example, and this is the complete opposite of it. It's fucking fantastic. And Carl has a great, like, he's perfect for the role, man. He's the fighter with the technical knowledge. He jumps in when he has to. He doesn't talk too much. He knows exactly how much to say. And he's just got that great fucking Belfast accent, man. Like, I think it's a winner. I think, how long he's going to box. Huh?
Rosenthal's quite old school, so he's been around and knows he doesn't have to talk too much himself.
The whole thing was just perfect. The pace of it, the voices, enough excitement when it got exciting in the ring. You know what I mean? They would just generate on top of that. It was really good, man. And like I said, if Carl, I don't know how long he's going to keep fighting, but I think he's got a future in commentary, man. He's really, really good.
All right, are we done on kind of Taylor and Prograis? Because if we are, let's just kind of continue with WBSS, just to get it out of the way, so we kind of got a bit of a segue into it. Let's talk about the monster, Chemo. Wow, man! Like, we had a quick conversation yesterday for people that don't know, because we were kind of testing your Skype because you've had Skype issues, and we were just both shocked of how this guy's going up in weight, and it seems like the fights are getting easier.
Man, it is insane. And when I was watching it, I felt like I was watching something special unravel, man. I feel like he reminds me of Manny Pacquiao. And I don't want to exaggerate, and I don't want to jinx, obviously, the future of his career. But seeing a, noticeably smaller guy stand there in the ring against a very good boxer who was much bigger than him, I thought, visually, and just put a fucking, like, thudding punch together that just shocks him and just drops him like that. It's crazy to see, and I get very excited from this. And seeing all the Japanese fans as well coming over, and there were a shitload of them in the crowd. I feel like this is something special, man. If this guy continues to what he's doing and he builds himself up as this pound for pound level guy, and he gets a country behind him, this could be the next big thing. I don't know if he's going to have the same commercial success as Pacquiao would, for example, in the States. I really don't know. But knockouts are universal, and this is something that Inoue does. And watching this tiny little guy do it is just incredibly fascinating, man. We've seen him live, Cam, and we even said back then, like sitting in the audience, like there's something about that fucking power that he has. You can feel the thuds of the punches. It is fascinating, man. What did you guys think? I'm still buzzing off of it, to be honest.
Leon?
No, you go, Cam.
Kimo, man, just that first round, I was kind of surprised, man, because like Manny came out with like intention, and I think within the first 5-10 seconds, he clipped Inoue with a right hand, which Inoue acknowledged, like, yeah, that was a good shot. And then throughout the round, he kind of hit him with a few more. But the second, man, fucking hell, like, soon as he kind of landed that. Well, he landed a right hand to the body and left hook to the head, and that's what I love about him. His combinations are upstairs, downstairs. A lot of guys are just like focused on one section of the body, man. They all go to the head or they all go to the body, but he mixes it up, and that's why hands drop and he can manage to land clean, man. And the second one, where just the two, the left and the right to the body, dropped Manny again. I thought he was going to quit because he was kind of like shaking his head. So I don't know if he was saying to his cornerman, like, yeah, don't throw in the towel or whatever. But he continued. And then the last one was more of a barrage of punches that he kind of just got caught up against the ropes and he went down. And I thought it was a decent stoppage because otherwise I think he could have got seriously hurt. And it's crazy how, in a way, first round in the quarterfinal, second round in the semi-final, and the guy's not even getting tested, man. He's at bantam now. Like, I was asking you yesterday, what do you think his ceiling's going to be? Like, possibly super bantam, but even that's a bit of a stretch. And he's hurting like bigger dudes, and it's crazy, man. I feel like the fact that he's such a big star in Japan is it's gonna kind of be an issue of him becoming kind of a worldwide star, because at least Manny started to speak English, and that maybe if he kind of does that, he can kind of crack the world market. But he seems like a guy that's kind of... Sorry?
Hasn't he signed with Top Rank?
I don't think that's official. I heard that may happen, but I don't know about Top Rank, man. Like, they're signing up everyone, but it seemed like even with Rai Burnett, they signed Burnett off Matchroom, but like, if the fights are not going to be high level just because they want to have, as many shows on their streaming format as possible. That's my issue at the moment. Everyone's getting signed up just to put shows out, but the quality of the shows are not good enough. But just going back to Inoue, yeah, man, like, I honestly don't think he'll be like a worldwide star, but because he seems quite content just being a star in Japan, like, and from what Rosenthal and Frampton were saying, like, 2 different Japanese TV channels were showing that over there, and as Kimo said, like, he had really good support in the arena as well. So, and for that weight division as well, like, it's not like the sexiest weight division to kind of casuals / guys that are just more hardcore, but he's bringing that sexiness down there, man. And I actually do think he maybe will campaign at Super Bantam, but I think that'll be his ceiling.
I have a hard time seeing that, Cam. I thought he looked substantially smaller in the ring.
He would look tiny next to like Quigg.
Say what?
Someone like Quigg, he would look really small next to, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and Quigg.
I'm not saying Quigg as a boxer. I'm saying as a frame, like,
Yeah, and that's
when he was at Super Bantam, he would look.
But that's the thing, right? In terms of the frame, like, I thought he just looked a lot smaller than Rodriguez. I thought Rodriguez's arms looked a lot lengthier and rangier. And I thought it was quite strange as well that Rodriguez was being so aggressive. I think he had the idea to go in there and be like, okay, I'm going to show this small motherfucker what's up, you know. And he came forward, he pressed action, he was quite aggressive. And then, like you said, Cam, like all of a sudden in the second round, it's like, oh yeah, okay, well I can take your punch, motherfucker, but you can't take mine. And then all of a sudden it was over, you know. But I think if he moves up one more weight class, he's gonna really struggle to find range on his punches against those guys, man. And again, he seems to have a good chin, but you know, there's not many guys that can do what Pacquiao did and just keep moving up and take flush shots from, you know, like fucking Miguel Cotto. Like that is a very, very special thing. I don't know if Inoue can do that. I hope he will, but I would have no issues in, you know, seeing him stay put and just become extremely successful at this weight class. Because even now, like I said, I think he just looks tiny, but that's part of the appeal, man. Like seeing a small guy like that put somebody to sleep is just, it's incredible.
Leo?
Yeah, no, the one thing I think is so interesting is that he's making these guys who are good, right? He's fighting, but they kind of offer up opportunities like a bums would, you know what I mean? Like they kind of get themselves in a position to be hit where they look like they're a journeyman versus a matchroom debutante.
I don't know. I don't think that's
weird.
I don't think that's
it's
fair,
weird.
to be honest. I think we just see kind of, in a way, just kind of expose small chinks and.
No, that's what I mean. That he exposes them so much that he makes them look like they've made a huge mistake.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree
like they've made a huge flaw that suddenly there's kind of like opportunity for him to land a clean shot seems to be there for like 2 or 3 seconds. Like it becomes so clear when he's going to land the shot. It's freaky.
But
how he moves them around.
I only agree with parts of that, Leon, because I don't feel like I was watching a mismatch when I saw them next to each other in the ring. Like Rodriguez looked so fundamentally sound. He was doing the right thing. It just becomes
how he makes them make the mistake. He makes them make a mistake and open up. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely,
He's got something about him.
Exactly, but that's what separates a special fighter from a normal fighter, because a normal fighter will find, you know, 20 opportunities, you know, to land the shot, and then maybe one of them will actually cause something. With Inoue, it's like it's he lands like maybe 3 shots, and then one of those shots is a touch of death. You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy, and it almost seems like you have to be so like defensive and slick just to stay away from the guy's power. Otherwise, it's just a matter of time before he hits you, and then you're in trouble. So.
And I think he maneuvers people into making. It's not just they're just because that guy came out to fight, didn't he? It's just he's just very good at getting his opponent where he wants them.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He's not just a crude puncher.
Like
there's skill there.
Someone off, he positions them. Yeah, he's very, very good. He's scary good.
Segueing into his opponent in the final, Nonito, he was supposed to fight Tete, who pulled out and then fought Stephen Young and Stephen Young on short notice, and that was a pretty brutal kind of knockout of the year candidate. But just for the final, Chemo, like, can you see Nonito doing anything? I know obviously he's got a great left hook and a very good right hand of himself, but can he get this upset win over the monster?
No, I don't think he can. But he has, make no mistake, he has the power to hurt in a way. Absolutely, 100%. I don't think there's any fighter that is completely immune to Donaire's punches. You know, even if he's a little past it, but he seems to be strolling along and, you know, kind of resurrecting his career. So I respect Donaire a lot. I mean, he went from being like close to box office to, you know, just a workmanlike guy that keeps on fighting, taking on the best, you know, and he's still in there and he's still performing pretty decently.
Because they're all scared of the pat, like they know if he can time them. So, like, even against Frampton and people, they were still wary.
Yeah, but the problem with Donaire is most of the good guys he fights, those openings don't come.
Yeah,
and that's the problem, because he relies on athleticism as opposed to, you know, guiding and baiting guys into walking into that left hook. He has more of a Roy Jones Jr. type of style where if it doesn't work out for him, if the guy's too skilled, then that basically shuts the door on a knockout, and he just ends up kind of shitting the bed a little bit. And with Inoue, will he be able to catch him and really do damage? I don't know, man. I honestly, right now, I would say no, and I would be kind of wary as well on what Inoue is going to land on him, because Donaire does have a good chin, and if this goes the distance, he's going to be taking a lot of punches. But I don't know. I don't know if he can, man. I don't know if he's sustainable at this point in his career to take Inoue shots. It'll be an interesting fight, though. I'm not really hating on it, man. I've noticed that some people are like completely not interested in the matchup, but I think it's a cool matchup. I think it's the old versus the new, right? And I'm down to watch it for sure.
All right. Shall I pick a fight, Chemo?
Go for it, mate.
Let's get it out of the way.
Well, he indicated to me that he was hitting the testicles.
Oh, God.
Chemo, man. Like, to be honest, I just want to quickly 5-minute job this one, because everything about the whole fight was embarrassing, man. I don't know what. I don't think I've actually spoke to you about your opinion on this. So do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first, man. It's a fight that amongst us, it kind of just fizzled out once it happened. I don't think neither of us really wanted to talk about it. Khan didn't really look good. I thought to be honest, in the entire fight, he never had that, that little head start like he always does. People for example, people against Canelo were saying he won the first 3-4 rounds and he looked great until he got knocked out. Well, this is one of the times where he didn't look great, and he didn't look great throughout the entire fight. I don't think he had anything on Bud, and as soon as Bud started really connecting with him, he just moved him around the ring, and it was pretty much a mismatch. This might be the time where we actually notice that Khan has really physically declined now, and not just in terms of a chin, but also in terms of his skill and athleticism. He just doesn't look that sharp anymore. And in this game, it's not surprising, because you need to be consistent, you need to be in the gym, and you need to stay active, right? And neither of those things has been part of Khan's vocabulary lately. So this was a cash out, I don't know how the fuck he got the fight. Obviously, he still has some notoriety attached to his name. But the whole thing was a bit of a sham. And I like Crawford. I think we all do. And I don't want to see him in these type of fights, man. And Khan, at the end of the day, for me, is fucking done. I'm sure we're going to touch on what's next for him, but I'll let you guys go first and talk about the fight.
Yeah, basically everything you said, I co-sign. You're talking about training when not signed up for a fight. I read something today where Virgil said, Khan's not training hard enough, or not training at all when he's not in a camp for a fight. And it's true, if you follow social media, my biggest problem with active boxers today is they'll do a really hard 2-month, 3-month camp, and then they won't do shit for 3-4 months. But why not just keep ticking over? Why not just do a run every day, hit the gym every 2 days? It's not hard. And plus, when you do start your camp, your weight's already manageable, so you're not doing a fat camp at the start of your camp. You can just get into more technique. But yeah. Straight away, Chemo, there was something off about Khan's technique, man. I know I've read afterwards that he's had surgery on his right elbow. Whether that was anything to do with it or not, but he looked scared fighting. He's fighting scared that he's more worried about what's going to come back than actually landing his punches. And he would do these little 3-4 shot flurries, but there was nothing on him, and they were just kind of someone that's only been boxing 2-3 years type of technique, were very kind of crude and raw. And yeah, he just looked like he was fighting scared, and his punch resistance is completely gone. When Bud caught him in the first round with that nice right hand over Khan's jab, you knew from that point on, this guy can't take a punch anymore, man. Everything was kind of that landed clean was rocking him, and the whole fucking quit, man. the amount of times he's shitted on Brook for quitting. At least Brook had like broken eye sockets, man. You had a fucking bruised testicle and you quit. And then after the fight, he's saying, "Oh, I didn't quit." Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Come on, man.
He's a mad cunt, isn't he?
It's crazy, man. I actually see the Brook fight going to happen now because I think he seriously feels embarrassed off the back of that Crawford performance, and I could see him like signing to fight Brook just to kind of go out on a shield.
He is shot to shit, Cam.
He is, man.
He is fucked. If like after watching that, Brook might send him to hell. Like he shouldn't fight that because Brook's not good, but he can throw a straight punch, and like you said, he doesn't look like he can handle much anymore, does he?
No.
And there was something physically off about. He was completely off. Everything was off about him. Didn't look like the same fighter.
Yep, 100%.
That's the worst performance I've ever seen from him.
Yeah, but guys, think about it like this, right, Cam? You're talking about like taking 3 months off. This guy has taken a fucking year off numerous times, right? Like he's too busy doing great charity work, and I'm not gonna hate on that because if he wants to do that, he can do that, right? But in terms of honing your skills and being an athlete, he doesn't live that life anymore, man. At this point, he's just a celebrity who laces up a pair of gloves. So, I honestly, man, I don't even. If you would put your money on it right now, would you think that the Brook fight happens? Because honestly, I don't think it does. I still think he has too much hate in his heart to give him that payday. Because even if they announce it tomorrow, it will still be a big fight in the UK. It will still generate money, and I think just the mere thought of like money flowing into Kelsbrook bank account is too much for him to fucking deal with. He can't do it.
I think at this point in his career, he'll get more enjoyment spending the next 2 or 3 years baiting Khan and baiting Brook into maybe the fight happening
and then retire
than he would actually fighting him.
I honestly think
it'd be more enjoyable.
Kimo, I honestly think if Khan can't get another big name welterweight to kind of try and redeem his performance against Crawford, I could see him signing to fight Brook. Because if I was him, I would fucking be embarrassed off that performance, man. So I won't want to like go out and retire off that type of fight, man. Like, because he overall, like.
But imagine he got splattered by Brook, though. Fuck's sake.
Well, he's been splattered by everyone else, so he's kind
no,
of
but that's a different. That's some. If I was him, I wouldn't take that. I would want to live rent free in Brook's head for the rest of my life.
But mate, what's the difference?
You can't do that if you've been iced.
What's the difference between this and getting fucking laid out by Canelo? Like he got embarrassed so many times already. I don't think that's ever been a motivation for him to suddenly wake up and say like, oh, you know what? Let me redeem myself by fighting Kell Brook. Like,
no, but
it's been dragged out so much, man.
But regarding the Canelo one, I think he's duplicates what a lot of people say, where like he was winning the fight until he got knocked out. So for him, I think his Canelo. I think his Canelo
that many weights just to troll Brook.
I think he thinks his Canelo performance was amazing until he got knocked out. So like,
because he's delusional.
He was winning the fight.
He is delusional.
Oh
God! Should we move on? Because I think we've spent too much time on Khan already.
Yeah, and Virgil is, I don't know, man. That guy, I'm fucking over him, man. Seriously.
This boy got sent to hell on Saturday.
The way he said that as well.
Trained a winning fighter.
Yo, Leon, when you stepped away from the mic, did you hear my soundbite?
No.
Play it again.
Well, he indicated to me that he was hitting the testicles.
Fucking hell, man. Virgil is something else. I don't know where that man came from, but he is unique. Fuck.
He's amazing.
He's the Bay Area Joe Gallagher.
All right, Leon, your choice next. Do you want me to give you some options, or have you got a fight you want to talk about?
Hurd versus
J-Rock.
Yeah.
You want to start?
Cool. Go on, mate.
Like, I like Hurd, and but he wasn't great, was he?
All right, maybe I should start. All right, so out of all the fights that we've had since the last pod, this is probably my favorite. Even though I saw it
definitely.
even though I saw it very one-sided, I think I only give Hurd 3 rounds. For me, like, the scorecards were a bit too close because Hurd never offered much for me. Like, he was coming forward, he landed that right uppercut that he does quite, a few times. But J-Rock, man, fuck me, man. J-Rock just like blew me away with his performance, man. His body work, his fast hands. He throw that left-right combination, landed clean, both shots on Hurd's head, man. Like, Hurd's lucky he's got a good chin, man, because most people would have got iced out by J-Rock on that night, man. Every punch had venom in it as well. You saw, like, the look on his face. He was trying to, do damage and had bad intentions in his eyes when he's throwing those punches, man. The body work. I think that was part of the reason why Hurd, unlike when he usually comes on strong in the second half of the fight, didn't do it, because he put money in the bank, as they say, man. He worked that body at the start. And Hurd just didn't have the energy, to kind of come on strong towards the end.
Exactly. Well, he knew the tactics were if you go after him early, because he's all about building up a head of steam, isn't he? That's what Hurd does, is start slowly and wear you down. And J-Rock just went in there and swept rounds early. But did he look a lot bigger to you?
Who, J-Rock?
Yeah, he looked more sturdy. Maybe I haven't seen him fight for a while since he got iced. And he just looked a lot bigger and stronger. And I think the other thing is that kind of gritty performance that he put on there, especially in the later rounds, because Hurd started to kind of get to him a little bit. Like, I think he wouldn't have fought like that if he hadn't had a loss.
Yeah, he had like something.
If he was on an O.
Yeah.
If he had there was some kind of peril to what he was in. Like, I think, there's a trait for modern day fighters.
He even said it
in
his
your O survives, you can sometimes become more vulnerable.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's interesting you say that, because he actually mentioned it in his post-fight where, once you lose a fight, people just write you off. Like, once you get stopped, it's like, oh, that guy's got no chin, man. Like, he's shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's true. Like, we as boxing fans...
I didn't think he had that in him. I did not think he had that performance in him.
We as boxing fans...
I thought he was done.
Quite often do that, but my biggest issue with J-Rock is I did watch... some of the fights after that, when he fought Ishii and when he fought a guy called Gallimore, and like his performances weren't that good. So coming into this fight against Hurd, I didn't really think he could do it, man. But you proved me wrong.
Well, Cam, I think that's the key point here, right? Like, people get knocked out in boxing all the time. Like, that's not something that necessarily has to derail your entire career. It was the manner at which it happened. Obviously, it was fucking dramatic and very violent. Yeah, absolutely brutal. And he looked great in that fight, but he got outskilled at the same time. And what happened after that is he just never looked the same anymore. I thought J-Rock coming into the Charlo fight was an extremely skilled guy, that was entering slowly into his prime, and we would see big things from him. And all of a sudden that whole shit got derailed, and then he was just never the same afterwards. So this did kind of come out of the blue. Now, the other aspect is, I don't think Hurd is that good, honestly. Like, let's be objective about this. Like, the dude is not fucking skilled. And another key side point, Cam, why is everybody in... Yeah, okay, fair enough. He's in fun fights, right? But he calls himself Swift, and just like Danny Garcia, who's also called Swift, the motherfuckers ain't exactly swift, right? They're slow as shit. Like, Hurd just stands upright. He has got no fucking defense whatsoever. And most of the punches that he throws are arm punches. And there is no head movement behind it. Like I said, there's no defense. He doesn't really have good power either. He just kind of wears guys out who end up getting tired by punching against his fucking chin. Like, he's just not that good, man. I think this was also a matter of a good style matchup. J-Rock realized that, hang on a second, like, 60 to 70% of what I'm going to throw right now is going to hit flush on this guy. So let me just go for it. And he went for it, and he hurt him early on. And he did fantastic throughout the fight. Now, Hurd is a tough bastard, so he hung in there. But at the end of the day, he never really was able to, like, shift gears and change the momentum in the fight with either skill or power or anything like that.
But I tell you, I hope they have the rematch straight away.
Why? I don't want to see that. Why would you want to see that?
I just want to see what Hurd can do, if he can do anything else.
But how is this different from what you've seen in any other fight?
All right.
All right.
Calm down.
No, I'm saying, like, for me, like, Hurd is just, he is what he is, man. He's a black margarita. Like, that's what he is, man, with probably less power. Like, he's just not that good. And, you know, he might look better against somebody like Lara because Lara doesn't really commit to his punches. But J-Rock 100% did, and you saw the difference, right? So, I don't know. I'd rather...
Well, you really hate Hurd.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't hate him, man. I enjoy watching him fight. I think he's, you know, must-see TV, but he is just not that good. Like, look, I'm not going to lie. Like, I didn't exactly expect J-Rock to do what he did, but I'm not exactly surprised either, you know, because who isn't hitting Hurd flush when they fight him? Like,
yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
The thing is,
everybody, man.
I've said that for a while. Like, I felt a bit bad, you know, like when he started, you know, becoming a belt holder and shit. Because I'm thinking this guy's not even that good. He just uses his size and his athleticism, and he just breaks down guys slowly. And I'm not trying to shut on him now that he's lost, but I've said this when he was winning. Like,
He did.
And J-Rock really exposed that. Like, I thought on the inside that would be Hurd's perfect position, man. And he was getting beat up on the inside by J-Rock, man. Like,
Oh, yeah, J-Rock was much better on the inside.
yeah, the right uppercuts to the head, the body work, man. Like, J-Rock was like, if he can repeat performances like that on a regular, man, like, I could see him, like, reigning at a high level, like 154 or 160 for a good couple of years.
That Charlo that iced him, is that the one that went up? Or is
Yeah.
that the one that's still at...
So that was Jamal, who's at 160 now.
Yeah, so he got iced by the good one.
Yeah.
He should fight that other one.
Jamel, yeah, kind of payback. But
That's
you know
a great storyline, by the way. I would definitely be.
exactly.
But also, though, like, Chemo, I wanted to get into this rhetoric we have about, you know, let fights marinate. Like, this is the perfect example, you know, why we shouldn't. Like, we had Charlo versus Harrison, where, you know, most people thought that Charlo just kind of nicked it, but Harrison got it on the cards. And then now Hurd's been, you know, dethroned by J-Rock. And it's like, well, if you hear Fury talking about, oh yeah, you know, this fight with Wilder and Joshua will be bigger next year, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what the fuck's going to happen next. You might get a brain damage against that Tom Schwartz guy, like, you know, God forbid, but you need to fight the guys now, man. Stop, you know, putting it back on the back burner, or we'll fight him next year. Like, I seen a quote today where Fury's saying that he's surprised that Dubois and his cousin Gorman are fighting next. It's like, you know, this fight's going to be bigger down the road. No, man. Like, you fought Chisora quite early in your career, man. And those type of fights actually help your career and are stepping stones. So why do you want to delay him and just keep fighting bum for like a couple of years? It doesn't make sense.
Cam, he's got a lot of work to do opening the homeless shelter. He said he's going to open in Bolton after that fight. And he's doing a lot of work for mental health. So ease off, Cam. He's got a full diary.
Fair
I
enough.
feel like you're going to bring up the Ferrari story.
No, that's not.
No, but Cam, I fully agree with you. And, you know, there's a few other examples of this. It doesn't matter who you fight, and we'll talk about Billy Joe Saunders later. But you can get hurt in any fucking fight, and that one is another example of it, right? So just make the goddamn fights. Look, I think I don't have no issues with this from a development perspective. Like, I'm happy that J-Rock won, and we can make great fights with him now. Hurd will have to go back to the drawing board and you know, build himself up again. But this guy's career ain't gonna last long, man. He takes so many fucking shots to the head. Like, he is a Brandon Rios, Antonio Margarito type of fighter. And I actually think he's less skilled on the inside. He doesn't bend his fucking knees, and that is not a pun towards Danny Garcia's dad. Like, he never bends, man. Like, he always stands upright with his chin in the air and whacks these sloppy-ass punches to his opponent when they stand in the phone booth, man. Like, you can't fight on the inside like that, man. You're leaving your chin out there. Somebody like Rios, even though people make fun of him, like, he's way more skilled on the inside than Hurd, man. Honestly. Like, I don't think he's good at all, man. He just gets by with sheer size and he might be a little bit of a genetic freak, but to me, this is the beginning of the end for his career, because you cannot be in a fight like that 5 times in a row. And he's already had a couple. This is obviously the worst, but give him a couple more fights, and if he fights somebody who's competitive, he's not going to have a lot left, man, honestly. So enjoy him while you can.
Lastly, for J-Rock, man, like when the announcement was made of the winner and he started crying and dropped to his knees, man, like I'll be honest, at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning here in the UK, man, I got a bit emotional, man, because you could see the sacrifice that he's put into, you know, his boxing career, and you know, like he was so emotional, man, and it was beautiful, man, that he's actually completed something that he's been doing and been set on for many years, man. It was nice, it was touching, man. But
Cam, think about all the shit that he had to eat because of the Charlo fight, right?
So
like
much.
he got a wave of criticism, and it wasn't
Nearly
just
as much as you after Lubin, Cam.
probably less.
Yeah, but I mean, it was also the manner at which it happened. Like he almost became like a meme, right? Like it was like he became a highlight reel in the worst possible way, and then he built himself back up all the way. And I'm sure in between those other fights, like he's had moments where he thinks like, what the fuck am I doing? Am I ever gonna like succeed in this game? And I agree with you, man. I felt it too. Like the guy has been through a lot of shit. So it's a success story that we should all embrace. And plus he's a good dude, man. Honestly, he seems like a nice guy.
Shall we move on? Kimo, do you want to pick another fight?
Yeah, man. Let's talk about Estrada against Rung Visai. You've seen that one, right, Leon?
What? Sorry?
You've seen it, right?
No.
Okay, well, me and Cam will talk about it.
You talk about it for a bit.
Oh, we'll talk about it. Don't worry, mate. Cam, I was surprised how drastically different this fight was, man. And Estrada has talked a lot about, you know, how he had injuries and certain things that were playing on physically with him in the previous fight. And usually, you know, it's like that thing you always say, I don't mean to make excuses, but XYZ, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was, I think he was, to be honest, maybe he just adjusted his game plan. Maybe he did have some, you know, some physical issues going into the first fight, but it was just drastically different. And I thought Rung Visai looked, you know, a class apart in the negative way from Estrada, man. Estrada boxed beautifully. He threw combinations. He looked like vintage Estrada. And skill-wise, he just, I mean, outclassing is a strong word, but he did look much better, man. And I think he won a very, very convincing, solid fight. But Rung Visai could never really get into it. He could never really land shots to change the momentum of the fight. And I'm happy to see it, man, because I've had some moments where I'm watching Estrada and his performance is a little off. He doesn't, you know, do that vintage like countering and combinations a la Marquez, which he used to do. And now we kind of got a little, you know, he rolled back the clock a little bit on this. I really enjoyed it, man. And yeah, I'm just happy to see the guy on top again. He's, I think he's a top player, man. He's so fucking skilled. Like I just love watching the guy fight. What did you think?
It was crazy that, like, compared to the first fight where Estrada was more reactive, he was a lot more proactive in this rematch, man. Like, he was the one kind of going forward, you know, landing some shots to the body and then kind of stepping away, circling, deep, really good lateral movement. And I don't want to, you know, really shit on Rung Visai, but I've said from the start, I think he's really basic. He's only kind of really got that left hand, I've said, but why the fuck he came out and fought most of the fight in orthodox, like, beggars belief, man, because you could see that you're 4-5 down so far. Like, okay, why not try going into southpaw and see if that makes a difference? But no, he just continued being orthodox, looking like shit and getting beat up, man. It was crazy, but take nothing away from Estrada, man. Like, apart from maybe the last 3 rounds when he was standing and trying to trade him when he didn't really need to be, because I thought he had kind of won the fight quite clearly. Why not just a box and move? Because once Rung Visai did switch to southpaw, like, I don't know if it is something about the angles or just something where it threw Estrada off his game plan because the same punches weren't really landing anymore. He was kind of becoming a bit more wild. Where before that, when Rungvisai was an orthodox, like Estrada was more systematic with where he was placing his punches. But the performance, man, I love that fight. I only watched it like a couple of weeks after it actually happened, only because I was just really busy and I didn't really hear, like, you know when you hear vibes off Twitter where people say, oh, that was an amazing fight, you need to watch it, and then you go like hunt it down and you watch it. People just kind of said it was a bit one-sided, so I never really, it never really encouraged me to go hunt it down straight away and find it and watch it. But yeah, man, I thought it was an excellent performance from Estrada, and I know you're a big Choco fan, Kimo, man. Like, would you like to see the rematch at this stage, or just let the guys go in their individual directions?
No, I don't want to see it. And to be honest, you know me, man. I'm a fucking huge Roman Gonzalez fan, but I don't think he has much left to give in this game, and I'd rather just see him retire if he's made enough money. I don't really need to see him fight anymore. I know that he's clearly, visibly past his prime, and it's only going to go downhill from here, whereas Estrada is younger, stronger, still looks like he's in his prime. And yeah, especially in this fight, man, he had some vigor about him, man. Like you mentioned, Cam, the way he came out in that last round and just started throwing down, it's not very like him. Usually he is a bit more conservative than that.
Plays it safe.
He usually just plays it safe because by nature he's a counterpuncher, and he just, I think he just really, really revived his career. Well, I wouldn't say revived. He boosted up his career in a big way. I think he's at his peak right now. And Roman, unfortunately, man, is nowhere near that. So I don't want to see it. I really don't. It might happen for money reasons, but I think that will be a bad style, obviously, for Roman, but I think it might do some serious damage that at this point he doesn't need.
Yeah, I agree, man. I love Choco, but they are worlds apart at the moment. Like I've said it, even in Choco's last win, like afterwards, he just didn't look the same, man. He's not got that killer instinct anymore. Like big KO losses just change you, just change some people, and he's definitely one person that's changed since that loss. But did you watch that Roman versus Delaney fight on the undercard?
I did, mate. I did, and that was quite the fight, man. Like I started off watching it. And I thought, what's the big deal? This isn't really that exciting. And then it started kicking off a little bit, and it just kept on going back and forth, man. It's a great fight. But ultimately, it was the body work that really showed, what the decider was in the fight, man. Like, once, I find his name a bit weird to pronounce, man, the Irish guy. How do I pronounce it?
I'm not sure because like Macklin was pronouncing it one way and like the other guy was pronouncing it a different way, and I'm thinking, well, Macklin's Irish, innit? So you think that he'd get it right, but TJ Donaghy or Donaghy, I don't know. I'm not 100%.
I think it's Donaghy, yeah, something like that. He had some success with the left hand against Roman, man. Like he did well in the middle of the fight, and actually, you could see that once he realized, like, hang on, when I kind of fucking lead with this left hand, he doesn't really have an answer for it. He did well. But once Roman got to that body, and they were saying it in the commentary, I think he might have like bruised up a few ribs or even like broken it, man. Like he was never the same after that first body shot landed flush.
Yeah.
And there was another one where I'm not sure if it was the same one that started it as the one that came after, but there was one where basically Donaghy was like walking into it, and Roman just fucking winged that left hook in there. Oh my God, it was a beauty, and you could see, man, even after that, if he would like throw the jab in there straight to the body, even that would visibly hurt him, man. So I think he was just, for the fight at least, he was just damaged goods in terms of the body shots, and he just couldn't handle it anymore, man. It was a fun fight. I really, really enjoy it. I like Roman. I just don't know. I don't really know what his ceiling is, man. He's not, to me, an elite level guy, if you get what I'm saying. Like he's very solid. He's fun to watch, but I don't really see him as an elite talent. What do you think, Cam?
I totally understand where you're coming from because, like, he beat up Gavin McDonald, but that's Gavin McDonald, and against TJ, he was having issues. It was that round where Donaghy really came out and really put it on him, and he looked kind of distraught. And my biggest problem is he can't. For a small dude, he starts his attacks from the outside. He'll leap in with a left hook, and it's deceptive because he's got fast hands and he closes the distance quick, and it kind of works. Like, he'll catch a guy from the outside with a left hook, and then he'll then obviously he's on the inside now, and then he'll start to work the body and stuff. But he's a bit exposed sometimes because TJ was kind of like picking him off sometimes when he was trying to jump in and come in, and he's picking him off with the left hand. But I do kind of agree, like, maybe in unifications and stuff. Well, that was a unification in itself, so he's unified now. But if he does want to fight, I think Ray Vargas is WBC. That I think just Vargas' size. Yeah, he's long and he's got a very big wingspan. And I think he'll be able to prevent him getting on the inside, man. So yeah, props to him for becoming unified. But I think becoming undisputed or picking up another belt is going to be pretty difficult for him.
Agreed. I don't think Leon's seen this fight, right? Probably not.
Probably not.
No.
All right, Leon. Did you watch Canelo?
I did watch Canelo.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Only Lim comes on for Canelo.
No, I was respectfully listening in. I don't want to chime in for fights that I haven't seen, so I was just waiting for my cue.
That's fair enough. Then give us your thoughts on your ginger-haired boy, then.
It wasn't that great of a fight, right?
It was shit.
But I guess that's what happens when two guys are really high level.
I agree. I didn't think the fight was all that, but why didn't you think it was all that?
Like I said, I just think they're two high-level fighters, and I don't know, man. Like Danny, that's the thing with Danny Jacobs is that I think he's more of a fighter who kind of just gets by from his like athleticism, and that's kind of like, I know that's strange to say because he's obviously at such a high level and he arguably beat Triple G, but like just the way he fights like, especially with this one and with Triple G, there's two very different Danny Jacobs in both of those fights. And had Jacobs fought in the same manner that he did in the second half of the fight, he probably would have won the Canelo fight. I mean, that's probably that's attributable to Canelo, obviously, but I don't know. I feel like Canelo is just one of those guys who could just kind of like just take it easy with certain guys and just coast by. And like if you look at his past 5 fights, they've all been against super high level opposition, but none of them have been that definitive. Triple G twice, Jacobs. Was Lara within his past 5 fights? I'm not quite sure, but they're all like
he's fighting loads of trash.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. The 168 bum. I don't even remember his name.
Yeah, so
I don't even add that to his resume. But that kind of just adds to it. Like, I'm really curious as to how like his legacy is building from here on out, because I still talk to people who think he's not even within the top 10 pound for pound, and then other people.
He never separates himself.
Exactly, which is kind of, I guess,
passive.
disconcerting, but at the same time, like, exactly, passive is a perfect word, but you still see certain spots, like in the 4th round, where he just looks incredible.
Matrix.
That's probably, again, because of his gas tank, or his lack thereof.
I don't know. He could have stopped Jacobs, I think, if he had gone for it.
I don't know. I think that's a reach, man. Like, I don't think...
I don't know, I think they were both willing not to engage for long periods of time, really.
Yeah. And Jacobs is massive for that weight class.
They're both happy to be there.
Yeah.
And that's not, that thing where people say, when they say, oh, it's too really, because they're two high level guys, like, that's not a good enough excuse, really, is it?
Yeah,
being two really good guys, because we're both really good, we're going to be really respectful of each other and won't do anything in the big,
Yeah. And
this is meant to be a big fight, and it's like, but we're both really good, right? And it's like, yeah, doesn't do much. I just rather, Danny should just let it all hang out. That was his last. That was his big chance, and I feel like it would completely passed him by.
Kimo,
apart from maybe the last 3 or 4 or 5 rounds, I gave him rounds.
Kimo, I'm interested in your opinion.
I kind of am surprised a little bit by Lim's opinion, man. Look, I agree that the fight was disappointing. It didn't live up to at least my personal expectations. I thought it was going to be a little bit more exciting than that. Also because I believed that Jacobs would lay it out on the line, and he didn't. He kind of just fought in that typical Jacobs-esque manner, which is I'm kind of boxing. Here and there, I swing a little bit wildly, but I'm never really putting together enough punches to kind of make something happen, and to swing the momentum of the fight towards his favor, right? Like he never really, I don't know, man. The guy just doesn't take enough risk for me. Like that's my issue with Jacobs. Like if you're in a fight with Golovkin and you lose it and you're pissed off about, losing I don't remember if it was a split decision or not, but anyway. Me personally, I scored that fight for Jacobs, right? But he didn't get the judge's decision. He believed he won the fight. He was disappointed. He knows, obviously, and his camp, that they need to do a little bit more to separate themselves, right? And then he fights, again, in the same way towards a guy that we all know takes little breaks in the fight. Why don't you capitalize on that and actually push the pace? Like, he seemed to not be able to go into another gear. And I think that's also the story of Jacobs' whole fucking career. Like, he doesn't have that additional gear to make himself look like an elite fighter. Having said that, I think it's a fair point to say the same thing about Canelo, that he doesn't really separate himself in certain fights. But I want to elaborate on the fact that it's only in a very small, select amount of fights, man. The second Golovkin fight, I thought he did. First fight, maybe not quite. In the Lara fight, arguable, okay. And maybe in this fight, what other fights are we talking about?
Trout. Yeah, I think percentage wise,
he dropped Trout, man. At least, come on.
Yeah, but that's still a single round though. He went full distance, and it was close.
He's that stinking performance against Cotto. I won't forgive him for the fucking time he took me from that shit. That was fucking diabolical.
Look, I don't necessarily disagree, but for me, like the second Golovkin fight made up for a lot of that shit, man. He came forward,
you're going to forgive him because you've got a bias towards him. Of course, you're going to forgive him.
Dude, you just said like the majority of his fights, and you mentioned 1 fight out of 5, essentially.
Well, the other guys you smoked, right?
Yeah, but they're all the best fights. They're his 5 best fights.
Yeah, exactly. Bomb, man. Come on.
But on the flip side, like that's also my point, though, is that his top 5 resume is probably better than anyone else active right now. So he kind of gets a pass, but at the same time, like I completely get Leon's point. Like I just think Canelo shows signs of brilliance within portions of the fight, but he never really separates himself unless it's a guy like Triple G. And is that because Triple G was kind of past it in that fight, or was that just Canelo? Is Canelo really one of those fighters who has to really get up for certain matchups?
But let me ask.
That's the case. That's kind of strange.
Can I ask Leon something? Did you in this
obsessed?
No, I just want to ask, mate. In this particular fight, do you think that Canelo won like at least like let's say 7 rounds very clearly, or not?
No, I think Danny did enough in some. Like I even gave round 1 to Danny. Like I don't think it was. I think they were both at fault. Like I had it a draw first time round.
Oh my god!
I can't be trusted, can I?
I don't think you should listen to Leon. Leon, I
can't be trusted.
Leon, I think you should mute yourself.
My hatred of him, but I don't think Danny could have won more than 6. But I think you can see Canelo winning more than 6.
I think you should mute yourself, Leon. You know who else give Jacobs round 1?
Who?
You knows Froch.
Well, that's because he knows what he's fucking talking about.
Wasn't round run pretty close?
My boy right there, Froch.
I thought Jacobs actually did pretty okay in round 1. I wouldn't be against scoring.
I give it Canelo.
It's a shit fight. That's the problem. Like I'm with you. I think Danny should have he knows what he's up against. Like he's been disappointed one up against
Snake.
A massive
number one guy. Number one guy which comes with benefits, right? Let's put it like that.
And you just get so distracted. The first couple of rounds, you're just staring at the midsection. It's tough. It's difficult.
I don't know,
but
man. I thought Canelo at least won this clearly, Daniel. I don't know what you thought, but I thought he.
Why are you calling
Look,
me Daniel? You've never called me
He's
Daniel in
angry
my
that
life.
you just
I
wanted
just
to
felt
be that.
like it was a spur of the moment, bro.
Oh Lord, that's probably the only fight I watched, and the Inoue fight in the past like 6 months.
Monster.
Monster.
What
But
do you think about anyway then? Holla.
should we move on, Cam? Is that appropriate?
Now, I just wanted to quickly give my 2 cents on the way I saw the
Nah,
fight
we're-
play out.
Go for it.
It was crazy because I expected, maybe Jacobs to take the front foot and, Canelo to kind of pick him off with the counter punches, but it was complete opposite. Like, Canelo was kind of walking Jacobs down, and he was having more success, where I thought, Canelo's going to have more success for being reactive, and he wasn't, and Jacobs' gauge of distance was poor. I think he was, like, at mid-range when he should have been at, at distance a bit more on the outside, because when he kind of threw that throwaway jabs, like those 1-2 throwaway jabs, his arm was always bent, so it shows that he was a bit too close to the target. Like, and how can you let the smaller dude Canelo be snapping your head back with his jab? Like, Canelo should be reaching to land a jab on you, but he wasn't. Like, the jab in the early rounds for me, Canelo's jab was excellent. And then when the tide turned, maybe after the 7th round, I think I gave him Danny the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So I give it 8-4 altogether. And that's when Danny was kind of coming forward. And when I thought Canelo would have the success, picking him off with the counters, he wasn't. Like, Canelo wasn't really countering him that much. He'd kind of just, shell up, the upper body would move a bit, but he'd kind of block the punches. And he wasn't really countering it as much. So the fight kind of happened opposite of how I thought it would happen. It was a really weird one, and I do agree. Overall, it lacked something, man. There was something missing, a bit of drama. Like, I think Triple G mentioned afterwards, it was like a glorified sparring session, and it almost kind of was like that. It just lacked. Even though it was a paper.
Triple G.
Say that again.
Fuck Triple G.
No, man,
My bad.
he's cool now. He's like wearing like
Many dramas.
sunglasses and
Calm
like
down,
young people's
Lukey.
clothes.
Calm down.
Sorry, Cam. Carry on.
But no, that's about it, really. I did want to.
But Cam,
Yeah.
can we all agree at least that Jacobs is fucking overrated as a boxer? I mean, like Lim said, I think he's a good athlete and he has good power and he can do some quote unquote athletic moves in there. But
Yeah.
in terms of skill, man, the guy is fucking crude. And I even listened to the fucking TMT twins saying the same thing, and that's telling you something, right? Because they're all up his ass. Like, the guy loses his marbles so many times when he starts throwing these weird-ass wild punches, and you're just like, mate, what happened to your technique? Like, you just threw it out the fucking window.
Yeah, he does that quite a bit. Like a fighter isn't that he's not all up there when like he pivots to his left and then he throws a hook. Like when he's like, that's like the worst time to throw a hook, and he does that all the time. Like I don't like watching Jacobs fight at all, and I think he just gets by with his just pure athleticism. And I know that sounds kind of crude, but I think it's true.
You
But
need some
again,
pivot
like,
lessons from Jameson Rocket, bro.
Exactly.
needs.
He needs to go to Brooklyn and learn those pivot moves. But that kind of leaves you just with Canelo. I mean, he's like we mentioned and like Leon pointed to, and I agree with it, is, he's fought probably the top, 3 or 4 guys at 160, which is, good when you look at it in a vacuum. But now that he's at 160, I mean, is he going to fight Andrade, Boo Boo, and get that last belt? Like, what is he going to do?
I think he probably will, actually.
Yeah, he has to. He's on DAZN as well, isn't he?
It's all set up, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I think Hearn and DAZN will probably make that happen. I don't see why not.
He should do, and that's a good. Again, like Andrade's a mad bastard, but on paper he should give him a reasonable fight, right? I mean, he looked like shit against that German guy, but I mean,
yeah,
he's still
I don't
kind of
know about
skilled.
Andrade. Ever since he got dropped by Vlanes, I kind of doubted him.
That's fair.
Ever since I saw him come out as Pirates of the
Just
Caribbean,
because
I don't fucking believe in him anymore.
Exactly. I know. his fashion sense is not all there. But now that our Lions only squad is kind of fading away, man, I don't really know anymore.
What's happened, man?
I don't know, man. It's really sad. I mean, I still follow the Charlo twins on Instagram, but man, Tony Harrison just lit Tramell a new asshole in that press conference, man. It's really depressing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They had so much momentum behind them, and all of a sudden, it's like it's just completely died down. I don't get it. I think they're just Cubs now, man. They're not Lions anymore. But we'll see. I think they just need a new good performance, and everything will like boost up a little bit. But right now, it's just a bit of a dud.
Performance.
Huh?
A new good performance.
Yeah, man. You feel me?
I guess so. We need to go to the H, man. Get our Houston Rockets season tickets, We end it. But, yeah. Cam, can we talk about it anyway?
Man, I'm Team Leonard, you know that.
We have already, Lim, so you just go away. We have already talked about him, so you can just give us your thoughts.
He's really cool, man. Cool fighter.
Alright, cheers. Thanks for that.
It's as simple as that.
He's actually dropped off as well, so I don't know if he's...
Perfect. Amazing.
If that was a joke or... just segueing into the undercard of Canelo versus Jacobs. Upset... Maybe of the year. Not, maybe that's not fair, but it's Adam Ali, I think beating Cotto was a gift and a curse, man, because after that you got lit up by... what's his name?
Jesse Vargas?
No. That was before. Munguia.
Mexican kid.
Yeah, he got lit up by Munguia, and then fought Herrera, looked like shit, and then got like a pretty out the blue stoppage get lost against Anthony Young, man. Young just came out, like Ali was having decent success early on, and then he got hurt by Young, and then ref kept saying, show me something, Ali, and Young was just banging away, and Ali was just, kept getting caught in the corner, and he just waved it off, man. But I was a bit shocked about that. But the person I wanted to talk about, Chemo's got the same first name as this person.
Well, he indicated to me that he was hitting the testicles.
Virgil Ortiz Jr. Chemo, man.
Virgil.
I like Virgil.
Is that a fight?
No, I'm high on him. He was on the Canelo undercard, right?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. And I might be a bit late to the party, because some of our US listeners and friends, might see more of him, because I don't really remember seeing him before. And I'm impressed, Chemo. He's young, he's composed, he's a good punch picker, and he's definitely got power, because he's won all his fights by KO, and no one's really done that to Mauricio Herrera before, man. He properly iced him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but mate, I mean, okay, he might be a good fighter. I agree with you, but we're talking about fucking Mauricio Herrera, who's 40 years old now. It had to come at some point, right, Cam?
No, but coming against a 20-year-old, that's a point, though.
Yeah, Herrera.
The kid has 11 fights, man.
I think he's got 13 now, but
exactly. I know my boxing. Trust me, bro.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but this is like Canelo icing fucking the Argentinian. What's his name?
Yeah, exactly. Look what happened to Canelo, man.
Baldomir, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like Canelo laying out Baldomir. Okay, it's impressive, but at the same time, is it really?
Of course. We're saying that Virgil's the next Canelo.
Nah, he's not as good looking, man. Come on.
He's not. But can I just say one thing? I love the way the kid punches.
Yeah, his technique.
It's scary.
Yeah, his right hand.
It's scary, dude.
It's vicious.
Fucking hell. He's like Canelo with the body, with the combination punching, but he extends it even more so than Canelo does. The guy, he's just a vicious puncher, man. This shit, there's not many fighters who punch like he does. So, obviously we've seen this so many times where people don't fight anywhere near in the same fashion once they step up to a level of opposition, especially a guy who can actually throw back, which Mauricio Hero is the exact, opposite definition of. But, I think just based on that performance and the fact that he's 13 years old, I think says a lot. So I don't know. We'll see, but I think he's really big for the weight class too, and especially how hard he punches is relative to the weight class. Like I could see him definitely making a lot of noise.
Leon,
I saw the fight too.
Leon, did you see
the fight too.
Joel Ortiz Jr.?
No, I did not. I'm going to look for it now.
Have you seen anything?
Virgil.
Fuck me.
What's your fucking problem?
Go on, Robbie.
Shit.
I saw Josh Taylor versus Barechek.
What do you think?
Oh, fucking damn, Jason. How was it?
Fucking dome, Jason. It was a good fight, man.
Yeah.
I had it 7-5 for Taylor. Those shorts were on point, on fleek.
Oh, the tartan shorts.
Yeah, but I think Prograis beats him though for some reason, man. I don't know, man. I thought Taylor would develop a little bit better than he did. But I don't know, man. I think he's a good fighter, but I still think Prograis would take him.
I think it's a very close. I think it's a very close fight, but I do agree with you. Like in terms of development, he has looked better in past fights. I don't know.
But he's been fighting better guys.
Exactly. I was just going to say the same thing, man.
He's got the better resume. So Prograis got to still fight someone better. He's going to fight someone better. So we'll find out. So yeah, whatever.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's usually the case, isn't it? You have one guy who fights a better opposition. He looks less impressive because of that, and it's always the guy who doesn't fight the guys.
I think there's a little bit of that on this fight. Sorry,
what the fuck is that?
It's my wife.
You still have a phone from the 80s.
Dude, that's like one of those fucking old school phones where you turn the dial.
Yeah, that's my ringtone.
Oh.
Fart.
Yeah, man. So I saw the fight too.
Lim.
Yes, sir.
Did you watch Wilder Ice in Brazil?
Of course I did, man. I saw my boy Brendan Schaub in the stands or in the seats.
You mean a stand-up special or what? Did you watch it?
Exactly. Yeah, you'd be surprised.
I think you'd be surprised.
No, but I don't know, Cam. What do you think? Honestly, does this do anything for Wilder at all?
Nothing.
Like, do you think Brazil is a better fighter than Ruiz and the guy that Tyson Fury is fighting?
I think he's probably. To me, I'll be honest with you. I've not even watched any tape on Tom Schwartz, so I couldn't say. I think he's probably on par with Andy Ruiz, but they're just fights we all don't want. Like, I expected this to happen, and it's one of those fights when the first round KO, you're happy because you don't have to watch any more minutes of that garbage. So I was happy when I saw that.
Yeah, dude, I was just surprised to see, or not surprised, but I was just mildly entertained when Brazil went down. You could just see all of his body fat just kind of like rolling in slow motion. I thought that was so funny. But other than that, it's kind of pretty much what I took away from it. I mean, I know I've said this so many fucking times, but when are these guys gonna fight one another? And to be fair, I mean, the Fury fight obviously did happen, but I'm more puzzled as to why the rematch didn't happen right away. But just, Cam, we've had this discussion so many times, and obviously it's not Joshua's fault that he's not fighting better guys, but it's just so frustrating when we have to go from Miller to Ruiz, and we're just kind of left in between because these fights are so readily available to happen,
Yep, as you said, we've discussed it so many times, and it's so annoying, man.
We're just beating a dead horse at this point, man, and it's getting really fucking annoying. There's so much potential, man. We've said this so many goddamn fucking times. Any of these fights, if you make them, are potential stadium fights, and there's so much money being left on the table, and they just don't want to do it, man. I honestly don't get it. Brazil is obviously better than that fucking Schwartz German guy that Tyson Fury is fighting, but still though, I mean, it is impressive what Deontay does. He is, he's a very powerful fucking specimen, man. He can lay somebody out in a very, very scary way. And in his own unorthodox type of way that he fights, he's not an easy opponent. But I'm sick of fucking analyzing these potential fights. I just want to see it happen now, man. It's really, really frustrating.
Yeah.
And then the last thing as well.
Like 3 years.
Yeah, exactly, man. And people like Tyson Fury don't make the situation any easier with their constant bullshit in the fucking media, man. I'm just tired of it. It really, really, and it's the same with Wilder. Like I can't hear him talk anymore, man. The same nonsense over and over and over. Like speak, believe, and receive it. And then there's Joshua with his vanilla fucking. It doesn't matter whether it's Big Baby Miller or it's Andy Ruiz. I've got to stay focused and listen to my coaches. Okay, mate, we get it. Like we get it. Fucking
Dude.
now fight somebody. Seriously.
I was just perusing through YouTube and I happened to come across a Anthony Joshua video of him flying to Miami, and the amount of bullshit that man spews is just, it's undigestible to me. I mean, the way that he talks about being blessed and fucking reviewing private jets and like talking about fruit plates and candy bars and shit. I'm like, oh my God. If I had to be around that guy for like more than half an hour, I think I'd either kill him or commit suicide. It's just fucking insane. That guy, I mean, holy fuck, man. It's awful. Yeah, and I hope I want to see him fight Deontay, because the more I actually think about that fight, the more I think Deontay would just knock him out. Kind of like he almost did to Tyson. He'd probably lose the majority of that fight, but I don't know. I just think Deontay has scary, scary power. Especially for someone who's so small, man. Like he weighs in at like 12 odd pounds and still lays motherfuckers out.
Yeah.
With no legs as well whatsoever. Like it's kind of interesting.
Fuck. I can't stand Anthony Joshua. I fucking can't stand it. And then
he used to be a fan.
I was trolling most of the time, and like I'm impressed by his conditioning and his workout regimen, because I'm into that shit, because I'm kind of weird. But if you look at the weigh-in between him and Ruiz, it's going to be the biggest discrepancy between two human bodies, I think, of all time. Regardless of any sport, like just the contrast between the two from like an anatomical standpoint is going to be just mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I hope Ruiz wears a shirt.
I mean, it's one thing that they didn't really think about is how ridiculous this is going to look at the weigh-in. Like casuals are going to think it's a joke.
Ruiz is like one of those guys, like the fat dudes you see at the swimming pool, who refuses to take his shirt off even when it's 90 degrees outside. Like that's Ruiz to me. So that's not a good look for DAZN.
Do you give him any shot though? I mean, at the end of the day, he has some skill, but even in terms of size and reach, like it's such a challenge, man. Like,
he might land a few shots.
He has got
Wouldn't that be hilarious if AJ got knocked out by a fucking fat midget? That would be something else.
That'd be crazy.
Be awesome. I think Canelo has a better shot against AJ than Ruiz.
I think only Niota thinks that Andy Ruiz is a shot, but it's just gonna look bad, man. I don't know. I don't even know why they made this fight, but I guess it's such a shallow fucking division. You don't really have much else choice, right?
And Baby Miller popped 3 times,
which is kind of awesome.
It's kind of disgusting as well,
because he still would have gone sparked.
Big Baby Miller.
Leon, do you want to talk about Wilder Brazil, or should we move on?
Nah, I got nothing to say.
Leon, did you see my mate Danny Garcia versus Adrian Granados, who I thought might have some success, but obviously did not?
I thought Danny dealt with it like Kimo said he would.
Yep, Kimo,
exactly.
That's all there is to say about it. He looked good doing it, I thought, to be fair.
Yeah, to my defense, I did say I think Granados would have success if he sat on Garcia's chest, but he actually decided to kind of fight him at mid-range, so perfect, position to eat left hooks and right hands all night. his game plan was fucking terrible, I thought. But yeah, I'd definitely take the L for that. For my opinion in the last podcast.
Because he is fucking terrible, Cam. He's not a good fighter. And say what you want about Garcia, I gave him props last show, right? I actually said I despise this man more than most people, but he is a quote-unquote elite level guy. And he will put guys away that are lesser than that, right? He'll struggle with the Thurmans and whatever, but somebody like Granados is just food for him, man. And he showed exactly that. Still don't like the guy. Still want to see him get knocked out. Still hope that it happens soon. But against who? That's the question. Yeah. I don't know what Garcia is really doing at this point, man, at that fucking weight class. Like, he has no added value. Like, who is he going to fight? He's going to fight Sean Porter? Like, nobody cares about that shit. And now that Thurman Pacquiao has been made, like, he's just kind of in a limbo right now.
Well, he's already thought. I don't know. Yeah, like you said, I think he's looking for rematches. Maybe Porter again or Thurman again. And I agree. He's
Khan.
Like, Khan has mentioned him before the Crawford fight, but Khan's going to have brain damage if he fights him again. To be honest,
I would watch that. By the way, I'm not gonna lie.
There's something wrong with you though, bro. So that's why. You love watching people get hurt. But
it's just must-see TV, man.
Moving on to Leon again. Did you watch the fight I linked you to today? Dangerous Daniel Dubois versus Richard Latte.
I did indeed.
Wow, man, that was that round where they're both swinging for the hills, man, and like, if one would have got caught clean, boom.
That guy was a tough motherfucker, wasn't he?
Yeah, and like his date of
you
birth
wouldn't
was
want to fight
incorrect.
him in the street. I think he would be really good in the street.
In the street fight, he had
Yeah.
he had the best beard in the world as well, man, like a ginger beard.
yeah, he looked old though, didn't he?
Yeah, like his passport is definitely incorrect in it. His passport's like he's 29 or something.
Yeah, but it was a fun fight. But I don't know, like, it's kind of a weird opponent to work out what that actually does for Daniel Dubois. I guess he came through some kind of.
Well, he did get clipped a few times, and it's shown that he's got somewhat of a chin, so fingers crossed. But he's fighting Gorman next, which we always give Fish Eyes a shit, man. But he does put his guys against each other, man. Like
he does, yeah.
So
that's a fun fight. I don't know enough about Gorman really, but let's see what happens.
Yeah. Any other fights you guys have seen that you want to talk about?
Oh my god!
I just want to quickly touch on Dubois, man. What do you guys think is his potential? Because the more I watch him, obviously he's very exciting, but I know he's very young, but I don't think he's that good, man. I don't think he's, if he was in a decent division, which I know he's not, obviously, so he might go far, but I think he's vulnerable, man.
Bro, he's 21, man.
Yeah, it's difficult to know.
He's a baby, man. Like, I think definitely, like, maybe when he's like 26, 27, and I think he can kind of be at the top, alongside these guys that we discussed earlier. I actually think he has that potential.
You know what the problem is, Cam? The problem is this guy is getting a lot of push, right?
Yeah, that's the issue.
So him being 21 is kind of irrelevant at this point because they're not going to keep him fighting cab drivers for another 3 years, right? And think about it like that. If he's 21 now, by the time he's 25, which in boxing terms is still really, really young, right? And most guys are still developing at that stage. He will be at a point where they have to put him in the big fights, right? Because by that time, he's probably had like fucking 10 more fights because he fights often and he fights a lot of people. And then he'll be at the point where like, okay, we've invested so much time in this guy with the network. Like we need to give this guy a push and put him in with a proper opponent. So I get your point that he's 21, but he's going to get the same treatment, for example, like a Canelo did, who at 21 was also getting the big push, right, on Mexican TV. And then eventually, by the time he was 25, he was already fighting the elites. I think the same thing is going to happen with Dubois. And when I look at him now, I don't know, man. I get your point. Like we also saw, for example, Canelo struggle with Jose Cotto, and then he turned out to be a great fighter, right? I get that. But when I just look at him in terms of fundamentals and everything, like for a heavyweight, and he's not too big either. You know what I mean?
He's big, bro. He's a big 21-year-old man.
Yeah, but in terms of height and reach, I don't know, man. I'm not quite sure if he's got the goods. I'm not sold on him, man. I'm
Yeah,
not.
me neither.
For me,
Can you imagine him versus a guy with AJ's frame or Wilder's frame?
bro, he's 6'5" himself. He's not a small dude. It's like, I think you need to like watch him again, man, because he's a big dude and he's only going to get bigger. I think, you know, as he kind of as he gets older.
I don't know. To me, he's more of a bodybuilder type of frame than more of a. I think he's going to struggle with somebody like Wilder who has rangier punches, man. And he just seems stiff. I don't know. He's not fluid to me.
No, yeah, I agree with the stiffness. I agree with the stiffness, but like that fight against Kevin Johnson, like Kevin Johnson just did what Kevin Johnson does and just basically doesn't do anything. And Dubois was working away like all 10 rounds, like high output, a lot of punches, man. So like stamina, I don't think is going to be a concern with Dubois, and that's one thing we do concern most heavyweights with. You know, by the second half of the fight, they're totally spent. Like look at AJ and stuff. So I don't know. I think you're being a bit harsh with him. And
Okay, I mean, I'll take that, but I just want to see him with somebody like.
We didn't see AJ at 20. Like, it'd be interesting to see what AJ. He's having his amateur career and the professional career, isn't he?
AJ was selling weed at 21, probably.
Wow,
That's racist.
Oh,
Wow, you went there, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Femi.
No, but
He turned his life around, man. The Lucozade commercial says it all, you know.
Kukul Kimo, I can pan out his career for the next couple of years if you want me to. Do you want me to give you the lowdown on how it's going to happen?
That was probably more racist than my Anthony Yard rant last time about the accents. But
What was that? Can you? I wasn't there that time. Can you reenact what happened?
Anyway,
yeah, let's move on.
Go on, Cam.
now this is this is what's going to happen, Kimo. He'll keep fighting a few kind of mid-level guys. Somehow Fish Eyes will get Joshua stripped of the WBO title because of maybe some mandatory situation where you can't defend both belts within a certain time frame. And then Dubois will fight for the vacant title against some bum that no one heard of. He'll win the vacant title and then he'll just fight bums for like 6 years until he has to fight a mandatory. That's how it's going to
That will not happen.
100%, bro.
6 years? Man,
No,
what the fuck are you smoking?
Well, that's a bit... Alright, I was being a bit extreme, man, but you know what I mean? Alright, 3 years.
I think he's... Man, the problem is his age, man. You cannot keep the guy on a fucking constant fighting nobodies for 4 or 5 years, man. It's just not going to happen. The same... I mean, we all said Deontay Wilder was never going to fight anybody. Eventually, he had to, man. It's going to happen, and he's going to be too young. I don't know.
but
that's
actually,
just
you
my
know
opinion.
what? You know, Wilder did fight a lot of trash for a long time.
Yeah, but he still fought some trash that I would say Dubois would struggle with right now.
I don't know, man. You
really are on a fucking one tonight.
Yeah,
you.
man, you hate... What did Dubois do to you, bro?
Salty motherfucker.
Okay. Let me ask you this. What
No, I don't know
impresses
if I want to hear this.
I'm not fucking asking you, man. I'm asking Cam. Cam, what impresses you about Dubois? Honestly, what are his aspects that you think are gonna, separate him from the crowd at heavyweight? Give me specifics. Is it his jab? What is it?
Work rate, power.
Great.
Bro,
His size.
work rate definitely, man. Like, I don't know what fight. You've probably not even watched any fights of his apart from this
Are you
Richard
fucking
Lackey.
mad? I fucking told you today to watch the fight.
Bro, I've watched it live, mate. You know me.
In
You
HD.
fucking wake
Don't
up at
rise
4
to
a.m.
it,
in the
Cam.
morning. Oh, God.
Someone.
Oh god.
We'll talk about this, man. I fucking called Granados as well. We'll talk about this later. We'll talk about this 4 years down the line.
Oh, good.
I'll remember.
Yeah.
All right. Any other fights?
I don't know if you guys will still be friends in 4 years.
Nah, we will. Well, we might not be
Yeah.
friends with you though, but me and Kimo will still be friends.
That's fair.
Any other fights, Leon and Kimo and Lim, if you've seen any?
That Joe
Teofimo?
Joyce fight. Roof. Cam. Sorry, reading these text messages. Fuck's sake.
Joy Joyce
What
versus Ustinov
What are you doing?
Joy Joyce versus Ustinov was like watching two guys having a fight in a bowl of molasses.
It was unbelievable.
It was a slow motion.
It was so bad.
Did you
I'd
see
recommend
Joyce
everyone
trying?
watch it
Did you
to
see
see how
Joyce
bad
trying
it
to
is.
like box as well in the first few rounds, where he's like trying to like jab the body and move and shit? He looked so awkward.
It was so weird.
And then he
Cam,
just
let me ask you.
yeah.
Joe Joyce versus Dubois. Who wins?
That's a tough fight for Dubois, to be honest.
Oh, really?
All right.
You want the fight?
You want to fight?
I don't know.
Can we talk about
on
Khan versus Crawford?
Yeah, talk about it. Come back stronger.
I just remember that one time we were in California. We just bombarded Cam with Khan impressions for like 2 days straight, and he wanted to kill us.
Because he was trapped in a car on the fucking desert towards Vegas, and all he heard for 5 hours was, "I want the fight. I want the fight, man."
That's fair.
And Triple G impressions from that 24/7 episode.
Yeah, Abe made me do that in front of some Mexican gangsters, and I was shitting myself. He's like, "Yo, do the Triple G, man." I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I just don't want to get fucking shanked right now, but it's all good.
You're like Louis Theroux, man.
Exactly.
That Crawford fight was just really funny. I was when I saw Khan go down in the first round, I just thought, oh god, this is just Bambi legs all over again. And surprisingly, he came back stronger, I guess. But yeah, he should just call it quits. I mean, the fact that I think one of you guys posted something about Khan like getting shoulder surgery and how he feels better and he's gonna come back stronger. Like literally, he said that. And I just don't know. I mean, for his own sake, he should probably just retire, man.
Lim Sham
Yeah.
Sham 1000 in the chat is asking Lim's thoughts on Spence Mikey.
Oh, you know what, Shams? Thank you for asking that question, my friend. I actually did watch that fight, and I actually did see the fight. Were you guys impressed with Errol? Like for his quote-unquote boxing abilities in that fight? Because
Really.
I didn't see it. And maybe I'm just super casual, but I didn't think Errol was all that impressive.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because
I'm a
I
bit
saw
in the
him.
middle, to be honest. I saw him. I like his ability to box on the outside because we don't really see that from him often. But at the same time, it is versus a much smaller guy, so kind of twofold. I don't know. I was mildly impressed. Let me put it that way.
Fair. Does that change your opinion of Errol at all as a fighter?
No.
For better or for worse?
I don't think in generally. No, I mean, look, Errol. For me, the benchmark is like the Crawford fight, right? That's the ultimate test of how good he is. And for me, I think all of that outside boxing ability will go out the window for that fight. It will all be about Errol the dog and how he can fucking break him down to the body and come forward. So in that sense, his identity as a fighter hasn't really changed for me. But I still want to fucking see that. Another thing we're not seeing, even though it's absolutely an amazing dream matchup.
Yeah, maybe this is just overly casual, but do you think the fact that Errol wasn't able to stop Mikey, let alone hurt him, I don't recall him hurting him. Do you think that was just kind of like a stylistic thing he wanted to prove? Like, how guys do that a lot of times when they fight smaller guys. They kind of make it an emphasis to kind of just showcase different parts of their skill set. Like, do you think that is representative of like his ability to stop guys? And if so, does that bode well for Crawford?
I wouldn't be
Being
surprised,
able to
mate.
take
To be
punches.
honest, I don't like to say that people choose to be in there for 12 rounds with somebody like Mikey Garcia because you're still running the risk of getting hammered by him. Like, even though he's a smaller guy, he's still Mikey Garcia and he can still punch, right? So if you can end the fight earlier, you should, obviously. But I did notice that he wasn't fighting with the same type of temperament as, for example, he did in the UK when he fought Kell Brook.
Yeah.
It had more of a Canelo Jacobs kind of vibe where it just seemed more of a sparring session as opposed to a real gunfight.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Yeah.
I just really want to see that Crawford fight because I think Crawford is a much better fighter than Spence. But
Crawford's good, man.
Crawford's so good. He's so fucking good. I think he's just as good as Lomachenko.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. I said it.
Wow.
I said it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
That is quite the statement, my friend.
I know.
I don't know
Taihala.
about that. Yeah.
Why?
Taihala.
Why is that such a crazy thing to say?
I don't know. I've never heard somebody say that before, actually. I think you're the first one.
Really?
What are your thoughts on that, Cam? Because you're a bit of a Loma dick rider.
It's difficult because we've
nuts
still
all
not.
over his mouth.
I don't think we've seen the best of Crawford yet, because you only seen the best when they matched well. And if he retired today, his resume is trash, really, man. Crawford's.
It is. We've had that discussion many times. But Lomachenko's resume is not all that great either.
No, but he did things quick, he became champ quick, he unified quick, he moved up the weight classes quick, so I think you would put Loma above Crawford.
Yeah,
Really?
but that doesn't change the quality, though, of the opposition. It makes it more impressive, but it doesn't change the actual...
Well, he's fighting higher level
competition.
guys sooner. Why? It's weird.
Yeah, but that's based on timeline. That doesn't change how good they are in a vacuum.
It's funny how Bob Arum, his relationship with Crawford, though, because I think when he first signed him, he didn't expect him to be his superstar, because he was sending him to Scotland to fight Ricky Burns, and he only developed after the love of Omaha and him becoming a kind of a star in his city and shit. And I think that's part of the reason why he's not that big, because initially he didn't really get that push, because he was maybe seen as an undercard kind of fighter.
Yeah, but neither is Lomachenko, though. I don't think Top Rank has done very good by their fighters in quite some time. I mean, other than Pacquiao in his prime, who's been a marquee Top Rank name in the past 10 years?
No, because
Loma is up there, I must say, but I don't think they've done a bad. He does have a reputation, man. Yeah,
but amongst hardcores, man, the guy fights at the fucking Microsoft Theater in LA.
Yeah, okay, he has. Okay, if you're talking about mainstream success, if that's your criteria, yeah, absolutely, he hasn't reached that. But Loma does have kind of that. I think, we watch MMA and shit. People, whenever somebody talks about the best current pound for pound boxer, kind of outside of boxing, people who have a little bit of knowledge about it, they will mention Lomachenko. He has that kind of status. But yeah, he has not transcended towards the casuals. Obviously not.
Yeah.
But Pac was special, man. I mean, we're never gonna see somebody like Pac again, man. Pac was something else.
Yeah, now he's fighting Thurman.
And he had a good opposition. He had a chance to fight better guys.
It's crazy, man. Pacquiao is fighting Thurman, man. I mean, he's so old now. He's still fighting a guy.
Give him a chance in that fight.
I might pick him, man.
Dude,
tactically, he's a
Josecito almost tapped that ass, man.
Dude, we talk about bad resumes sometimes, right? If you go to BoxRec right now and include Thurman and then you watch the entire resume of Pacquiao, it is absolutely insanity.
It's littered, isn't it, with names?
It's just crazy, man. How is this guy still in any sort of physical state? The guy is an absolute legend. I have so much respect for Pacquiao, man. Incredible. Why is that funny?
I don't know. It's just kind of funny, man. You just sound like a
miss
real
me,
dick rider.
Well, dude, you're the biggest fucking Pacquiao dick rider there ever was, man.
Yeah,
you're a little wild card slut, so don't even try to hide that.
I mean, that's the reason why I got into boxing, man, because of Pac. Of course, I love that guy. But
Damn,
it makes
bro.
me sad to see him where he's at right now in a weird way. Like, I wish he
Why?
would have retired. Like, just because, like, even though it's super impressive that he's still fighting really high level guys at his age, like, I prefer just to see, guys at his level retire earlier than later. So, I don't know. It's kind of sad.
Well, he, as long as he's competitive, like it doesn't really bother me that much. But once we start seeing like a Marquez type of situation again, like that's when it gets really scary, and I just want it to end real quick. But so far, like he seems to hang in there, man. But yeah, you're right. Unless he needs the money, which we've heard in the media that he actually does because of his tax issues and all that. He has a political career. Like he doesn't need to be fighting, but I guess he's going to keep going for a while. Cam, is there any other previews we need to do, man?
Well, we haven't done any previews yet. That was our reviews.
Oh, fuck me, man.
I need to eat. So
Nah, man, you should have
He's
ate
got
before,
the
mate.
munchies, mate.
Now, I'll quickly go through it then. So basically, I had some news, which was Keith and Pat, because you guys had kind of touched on that. Dubois Gorman, we kind of touched upon that. Only thing I do want to mention from the news is the sad passing of Howard Lederman.
What a legend, man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I almost
man.
killed a guy like 4 years earlier, too. Remember, Cam?
Yeah, when you opened the glass door in his face.
Yeah.
No, but the dude was extra nice. He took the time to speak to us. He asked me where I was from. Lim, man, mute yourself.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm in the main streets of Roppongi.
Shit.
It's literally 4 a.m. here, and I had to write a paper for school. I've been up for like fucking 16 hours straight, and I'm really glad that you guys are on right now because I can't go home because the subways are closed till like 5:30 in the morning.
Daniel, you're coming
Because
off a little bit cracky here.
Oh, I apologize.
You sound
Is it really that
bit
bad?
like a crack. No, you
No,
sound
it's
like a
fine.
crack.
Oh, like a crackhead. Like a crackhead. Oh, okay.
That story.
Apologies. No, I'm serious though, because I know it's I'm kind of living the life. But yeah, rest in peace, Howard. Or Harold, excuse me. It's Harold, right?
It's Harold Letterman.
Okay.
And
Okay,
he's
gotcha.
an absolute legend. And yeah, to be honest, Cam, the little thing that HBO released it was nice to see, but it was a little bit short, man. Like HBO has really fucking gone cheapo on any
They don't
boxing
give a shit
content.
about boxing
I
anymore, do they?
actually think they'll probably do something longer, because they can't just like let Howard go out on that little kind of tribute they made. Like they got to do something better than that.
I hope so, man, but I highly doubt it, to be honest. I think it's all well, the Dragons are finished now, but they're just not in the boxing business anymore.
No, but yeah, I just quickly want to say that the time that me and Lim met him, he was nice enough to stop and talk to us. He asked me where I was from. I said Manchester. He said that he judged a fight here in the 80s, and he was trying to recall the venue and stuff. And he's just a nice dude, man. I feel a bit bad because in the last few years I've been quite critical of him because of some of the scorecards he was dropping on HBO, and I think most people would agree that like he definitely he definitely dipped off towards the end of this HBO career. But like overall, like he just seemed like a amazing human being, and yeah, condolences to his family and friends, and yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Can we segue now into a little bit of Anthony Yarde before we go to the previews?
What could you say about
Which one?
Anthony Yarde that's occurred now? Like he's not put a foot wrong, Chemo. How can you talk about him this month?
Well, I want to know what the fuck is going on with the Kovalev matchup, because I saw a video last week which had the tagline all in caps lock saying that Tongbu, or whatever the fuck his name is, said that the fight was signed and it's going to be announced tomorrow. And that was a week ago. So what the hell is going on? And actually even Frank Warren said it was going to be announced, and it still hasn't been announced. What's going on, Cam? I want answers. I want to know if this shit is really happening.
Kovalev's going jail. That's what's going on.
Why? Wait, what?
I'm just joking. Like, I don't know why it's not been announced. Maybe there's like little things in the contract which have not been 100% ironed out. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Well, isn't that surprising? Still got to see it to believe it, man. I'm just patiently awaiting.
Waiting the duck.
Or the demise. Either way,
Yeah,
I
either
would
way.
be.
Yeah.
Both are going to give me plenty of ammunition, so I just I'm
Dude, what
eagerly
if he
awaiting.
wins?
Then I will fucking eat my words, man, like I always do. Like that will be another Angulo Canelo moment. You know what I mean? So,
How long?
I will.
What was that, like 8 years ago?
Yeah, but it still
My
lingers a
God.
little bit. Or the
It does.
Matisse Danny Garcia. Fucking hell. That was another one. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those good old days
Yeah,
That was,
boxingwars.com.
when life was very different.
Life was indeed very different.
When Lim didn't have
Yeah.
a care in the world.
When Mal Alpha was still a thing.
All right, should we get
Indeed.
into previews then? Before this
Yeah, let's
becomes
do
a
it, Black.
5-hour show. I'm just gonna go through like everything coming up, and then we'll just pick the better stuff. So this Saturday, Top Ranker got a card in Florida. Masuki Ioto defends his 130 belt against Jamel Herring, and Jose Pedraza is also on the undercard. Same day, same time, PBC have a card on Fox Sports 1, headlined by Trout versus Terrell Gaucher, and Chemo's
What
cousin.
the fuck is this shit, Cam?
Chemo's
Burn
cousin
it
Ahmed
down.
Albiali's on there too. Same night in MGM Harbour, Maryland, we got the card that Usyk should have been fighting.
Very led.
Fuck.
Usyk should have been fighting Takam, but the card's still going ahead with the Limbs boy Devin Haney because he's recently signed to to DAZN. And the same day in the UK, Huey Fury's back in Manchester at the Victoria Warehouse. No one cares. It's on Channel 5
Wow.
though. It's on Channel 5 though, Leon, if you want to record that.
That's enough to be boxing for a long while, that list there.
Yep. This one I think we'll stop and talk about. We kind of talked upon it before though. June 1st, Madison Square Garden, Joshua versus Ruiz. Callum Smith fighting Endam.
Fuck off.
Chemo tweeted me the announcement of that. That was quite hilarious.
That card is dog shit, man.
Chris Algieri's fighting Tommy Boom Boom Coyle. Katie Taylor's
that I'm tuned in for. I'm
Fight of the
tuned
year.
in for that.
Katie Taylor's trying to become undisputed against Delphine Passoon. So you guys want to touch upon that? I'm happy to skip it because we talked about Joshua Ruiz earlier, and everything else is just trash, to be honest.
I think Coyle can beat him. Coyle might have a card though.
Are you high, bro?
At this point, he
I am.
could.
I'm fully into that fight, man. Yes.
Mate, MSG, when the Boom Boom song comes on and he's going to come out, it's going to be lit.
Everybody say,
Right.
ew.
That's the
Exactly,
fight-
mate.
that's the fight of the night on that card, definitely.
No, man. Katie
It's
Taylor.
like the Rumper and the Humbler Part 2, man. It's fucking amazing. I'm pretty hyped for that shit.
All right,
Yeah,
should
I'm
we-
always hyped for Algeria Fight Week.
But let's be honest, like Algeria is not really in boxing anymore, right? Like it's just on and off for him. So Coyle has on a serious note, Coyle has a chance, man. I think he can do it because he's the one that actually lives the life and is dedicated to the sport. So I think it'll be an interesting fight. But the rest of the card is fucking trash. And I think AJ is just going to hit Ruiz on the temple and just flatten him out, and that's going to be it.
Kimo, how can you say our girl trying to become undisputed is trash, bro? Come on.
I didn't say that, Cameron. I'm just very thankful.
All right, let's move on then. Lim, I know you're muted, but if you want to speak upon this, unmute yourself because your boy is back. Hugo Centeno Jr. is fighting Willie Monroe Jr. The battle of the juniors, the Mongoose. This is on the same night as the AJ card, but this is Fox 1 PBC card. Devon Alexander versus Ivan Redcatch is also on the card, but I think
Card.
I actually
Hey,
think
Dog shit.
no, I actually think Hugo versus Willie Monroe is a decent fight, man. Like, I don't know.
Hey, you were fucking high as shit.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's just me. Lim's not unmuted himself, so I think we'll move on then.
Willie the worm.
Cam,
Fuck me.
Cam, you are an absolute degenerate. I bet you're gonna wake up in the middle of the night for this shit as well.
No, it's on the same
Just
time
so
as
that you
Willie
can-
the
AJ.
worm, man.
It's on the same time as
Just
AJ,
so
so I'll
that
have
you
to
can
watch
get
it next
little.
day.
Is it?
Same time, yeah.
Yeah, but still, you would though.
I would probably. But
Yeah.
all right. Let's move on. The week after, so that's Saturday, June 8th, we got the return of Golovkin versus Steve Rolls. I'll be honest, I've not Googled Steve Rolls. I've not YouTubed him. I'm not absolutely bothered. Fuck this fight, man.
Terrible fight. No.
What about you?
I mean, Golovkin just wants criticism at this point, right? I mean,
He's turning heel, isn't he?
This is the worst possible thing you could have done at this point. You have Canelo fighting Danny Jacobs, then you kind of just follow suit. He's signed for the zone, right? And then he gets rid of his trainer, and which is another amazing story, by the way. And then he fights this fucking bum. Like, dude, talk about derailing your career. No good, man. No bueno.
I love when you do that.
Many actions, many dramas.
You sound so disgusted. But same night, but in the Democratic Republic of Congo, you got Lunga Makabu versus Mike Perez, and like before, like you shit on me, Chemo. I think that's a good fight. I think Leon would back me up. That is a good.
Is that Makabu? Is that right hand by Makabu, the one that Bellew iced?
No, did you not fight Michunu? I can't remember.
Michunu.
No, Makabu. Yeah. Bellew did fight Makabu. Yeah. You're right. Sorry.
That was really racist, by the way. Michunu.
No,
Who the fuck is it?
That is a boxer called Michunu. They both fought.
Mate, all I want is that commentary. Remember that commentary that we had in some of those Makabu fights?
Oh, with that former
South African
boxer. Yeah. He's class.
That was fucking amazing, man.
He was classy.
So that's right in Makabu. They have that rolling R, you know what I'm saying? It's fucking.
You do it well. You do it well, bro. So that's Saturday, 8th June as well. So that's a good fight. What else? Fury versus Shorts. That's on Saturday, 15th of June. We can skip that. I'm happy to skip that.
Pay-per-view over here, isn't it?
Oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah. Dog shit.
20 quid in the
How
middle of
much?
the night.
20
quid.
pounds. To wake up at 4 in the morning and watch that shit.
Oh lord. Warren does some wild shit sometimes, man.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Some shit, man, doesn't he?
Yeah, I've got a rant about that as well, though, Leon and Chemo, because you've both seen the quality of Matchroom's UK cards recently. They've really gone downhill since, for two reasons. One, the higher quality boxers of Matchrooms that have either left or they've retired, so they're kind of thin with the big names, apart from AJ and a few others. And the second reason, him, trying to crack the States with DAZN. So you'd think that Warren would think, okay, there's a gap in the market here. I'll put on some decent fight nights. But no, Warren just put some worse trash than fucking what Matchroom is putting on. It's absolutely crazy, man.
Yep.
It's competing, like, oh, you're gonna put on some bullshit. Let me up a notch, Like,
I just think it's their
raise
stables.
your bullshit.
The stables aren't strong enough to survive on their own, really.
Yeah, they need to start maybe. Yeah, That's true. But all right, so that's 15th June in the States. Same day, but over here in the UK, we have the return of Josh Warrington fighting his mandatory against Kid Galahad. Chemo, go.
Oh man, I forgot about this fight.
Yeah.
Kid Galahad is a complete fraud, and I know that you still have a soft spot for him, Cam. He's gonna get beaten up in this fight. I guarantee it. And is this in Leeds?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he'll probably get glassed after the fight as well. So
What do you
it will
think,
be a terrific night for him.
What do you think, Leon?
I think Kid Gallagher has got something about him, but
Kid Gallagher.
Kid Gallagher.
Kid...
Mate, you are blazed up.
Gallagher lives rent free in your brain.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck me. Yeah, that one. No, Warrington, I was just trying to be nice, but Warrington's going to batter him. So I was going to suggest he had half a chance, but
he's going to smash him to bits, mate.
He's got too much momentum, old Warrington, at the moment.
it's a difficult one for me because the last two fights of Warrington's, Frampton and Selby, I've said, yeah, man, he's going to lose. He's going to get schooled. This is easy work. And then he's pulled through, man, and made me look like a fool. And I actually think that he'll beat Galahad, but I worry
get off it. You're gonna crack
exactly.
the brain.
I worry if I pick him, yeah, I'm going to give him the kiss of death, man. So, like, oof. Sitting on the
Don't
fence
pick
for this
him
one. Sitting on the fence. But
How can you pick Galahad in this fight? It baffles me.
I'm not, man. I'm picking Warrington, man, but he's going to lose if I pick him.
You're acting as if it's a difficult pick.
No, I'm acting because of my kiss of death, bro. You should know you're the king of the kiss of death.
Nah, you're just a fucking fool, man, with your Granada shit.
Aggressive.
All right, Leon, decent UK undercard fight. Zalfa Barrett versus Leon Woodstock, man. They're both,
That'd be good.
That should be good. I think it's co-main, but apart from that, the undercard's pretty trash. Same night, but in Latvia, World Boxing Super Series, Marius Bradis versus Krzysztof Glowacki and Urinio Dorticos versus Andrew Tabetti. Go on, Kimo, give us your thoughts.
I have no thoughts on these fights, man. Is it that good?
I think Bradis should beat Glowacki. Glowacki's okay, you know. He thought Usyk, he lost to him, lost his belt to him, but he beat Hook. But yeah, Bradis, I think, is a level above him. He should beat him. Dorticos.
I actually like Bradis. I'm being a bit of a dick. I actually like Bradis, and I rate him. He's a good fighter, man. I do pick him as well. He should beat him.
And Dorticos.
Dorticos, does he have anything left? I don't know. After all those wars that he's been in.
Well, he's only got that one loss. He didn't look that good in his quarterfinal against Masternak. He was kind of like going through I don't know. Masternak, one thing was going back all the time, and he's not that good. And Dorticos looked like he was just going through the motions. So he wasn't really. He didn't really have that much intent on his punches. But I don't know. I think the question for me is if Tabiti's got a chin. Like if he's got a decent chin, then maybe he can do something against Dorticos. But if he hasn't, I personally think he's going to get stopped. I think Dorticos stops him, but I don't know. What do you think, Leon?
Yeah, I don't know enough about that guy that Doritos is fighting.
Doritos. That's what you're thinking about right now.
Munchies.
Yes, I would pick that guy. You know, I pick Doritos. So that guy's a Mayweather fighter as well, isn't he?
Yeah, Tabiti's trained by Mayweather, so yeah. Wednesday, June 19th in Japan, Kazuto Ioka's fighting Aston Pelikte. Both have got a common opponent in Donny Nietes. And I think Pelikte got a draw against him. Most people thought Nietes won, and then Nietes beat Ioka, and most people thought Ioka won, so it's a bit of a weird one. It's for the vacant WBO title. I'm picking Ioka. I think it should be a decent fight, to be honest, because Pelikte was quite game against Nietes, and Ioka, I've liked him for quite a while, so looking forward to that one. What else have we got here? Machado Cansei rematch is on. Trying to think.
Cam, you're really digging at the bottom of the barrel right now.
No, that's a good fight, man. No, the first fight was pretty good, man. The rematch is happening, but it's not on BoxRec anymore, so I don't know if they've pulled the fight or something's happened, so we'll move on. 23rd of June, rematch Tony Harrison versus Jamel Charlo. Kimo, what do you think?
Oh, interesting. God, that's a tough one to pick, man. I'd probably still go with Charlo, man, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think
but not
tough.
by much.
I think Charlo just needs more activity, and I think he'll beat Harrison.
Yeah, I just think he needs to, if he actually evaluates his performance objectively and adjusts a little bit more and just don't be so goddamn passive in the fight.
Yeah,
man.
I think you should go out there and fucking just stop him. I think he's good enough to stop him.
Yeah, I agree.
Just go out there and fucking get on with it, man. Fuck all this. Because that's what he did last time. He just didn't do enough.
Yeah,
just go out there and fucking deal with this guy.
Too much of a passive attitude in the fight, man. He's got the athleticism, he's got the power, he's got the skill. Just show some goddamn will in there, man. Honestly,
exactly. That's what it will take.
I think he should be able to do it, man. It's all mental in his head.
I think he beats him. Yeah, I think he'll straighten it out and get on with it this time.
Yeah, get on with it, mate.
Yeah, fucker.
Undercard, return of Rigo versus Julio Ceja, but we don't care about Rigo, so we'll move on. So that card's on Sunday, 23rd of June. Don't know why it's on a Sunday. Friday 28th of June, Richard Comey defends his IBF lightweight belt against Raymundo Beltran. Like, Beltran's like the luckiest guy in the world, man. He always just falls into title fights, man. But, you know, that's just top ranking. He haven't got anyone, so...
Is he being drug tested for this fight?
Who knows, man? Who knows? So that's on Friday 28th of June. Saturday 29th of June in Texas, we have Jamal Charlo fighting the winner of the Contender Series, even though I've not seen one episode, mainly because Andre Ward's like a big part of the series and I don't want to listen to Ward talk. So, but the winner was Brandon Adams. We saw Brandon Adams in like ESPN's Boxino a good couple of years ago. I think he got to the final but lost to Willie Monroe. It's an okay fight for Jamal, to be honest. Brandon's is a decent fighter, but I can't see...
Is it a good fight?
I can't see Charlo losing, but I think they're trying to, get the back off, the Contender Series and just trying to kind of put Adams' name out there.
Yeah, I think that's a shit fight.
You think so?
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
My boy Lubin's on the undercard against Zachariah Atua, who's 29-6-2, but who cares?
The long road back. The long road back.
Friday, 28th of June, Demetrius Andrade versus Marcel Selecki. Like, Hearns is doing a round robin now. Like, whoever wins gets to fight someone with a title on his side, man. It's getting a bit boring, man. Like, no one wants these fucking shitty fights.
Yep.
No.
Moving on.
But that's it. That's all I got. Hopefully, we'll have a show after the Andrade fight. So
that, yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
Should we do an AJ like live special straight after the fight? After the bell.
You'll be high as hell, so there's no point having you on.
I'll be asleep.
Bloody useless,
I
man.
am fucking old now.
Cam,
Yes.
I think we're about to wrap up, but can I just touch on one more thing?
Go ahead.
How bad is the DAZN production and commentary? I honestly, I'm a bit of a commentary aficionado, and this is it's just so cringy, and they're trying so hard to make, to make it into some sort of mainstream sports type of vibe. You know what I mean? Like in the American sports, like in NFL and stuff like that, there's always a reporter on the field, that always adds a little bit of insight about what's happening personally with the players. They'll be like, oh, let's go to Diane, who's standing by in the Raiders locker room. And then she's like, thanks, John. This guy, had his kid 3 months ago, and now he's really motivated to come out and do this. This kind of fucking miscellaneous shit that has nothing to do with what's going on. And DAZN is trying to do the same shit. I'm watching the fight, and all of a sudden we go to this dude with dreadlocks who's standing in front of a fucking changing room and adding some personal touch on the fighter that's coming up next. I don't give a fuck about what he's saying, and it's so corny, you know what I mean? Corny is the best way to describe it. It's so corny and cringy. I don't like it at all. And Sergio Mora needs to fucking go. He's trying so hard, and he's trying to make everything what was he saying, man? He did a Hagler reference. I think it was the what's it called? The undercard fight that we just talked about with the two midgets, the one the Irish guy and the other one. He was like, he was like they went through it the hard way to come up. They went the Hagler route. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? He is trying to make everything sound so dramatic and exciting, and it's not. And there's no need to overcompensate. It's just an overall bad production, man. And then there's these two fuckers with the hats that do the previews and all of that. What is going on?
Dreadful.
It is absolutely terrible.
Come on, bro. AK and Barack, they went shopping with Canelo, man. That's TV gold.
Fuck off, mate. Honestly, it is, mate. At least ESPN knows how to produce shit like this. DAZN is not getting it right, and the team that they've selected to do commentary as well, it's just bad, bro.
You're not a fan of Brian Kenny, are you?
I don't mind Brian Kenny. He's the only one that I kind of give a little bit of pass, but even he is not really, and this is going to come out wrong, but he's not really satisfying me at the moment. So
I saw stuff on my timeline after the Canelo Jacobs fight. I think a lot of people were very critical of Kenny and Mora, and I never saw it with their commentary, but how did you watch the fight? Did you watch it with Brian? Or did you watch it with Sky and Adams, or what commentary did you hear for the Jacobs Canelo fight?
No, so I watched Jacobs and Canelo with Sky, but I watched some of the undercards later with Kenny and Mora, I think, if I remember correctly. So I've experienced both. At least with Sky, I know what I'm getting, right?
Yeah.
Sky, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting a lot of hype, a lot of bullshit,
A lot of classes.
and a lot of classy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm down with that. That's fine. But the zone is just cringy, man. I cannot deal with it. I just can't. It's really bad. Mora is fucking terrible.
Can I hijack? Can I hijack your thread about commentators?
Go on.
Because I did want to mention it earlier, but I just forgot because Lim jumped on. But during the Hurd versus Williams fight, my Denon boy, man, like I think he's one of the best, man.
The Goose, yeah, he's pretty decent.
No, seriously, like he notices small things, like where, like, you know, Lennox has been in there. Lennox was undisputed. Lennox knows his boxing, and like he notices small little things that Lennox doesn't even pick up on, or no one picks up on, and he's independent as well. Like a lot of these guys, when they're kind of tied to a network, they just become like misters, you know, like company men, and they just like agree to whatever the main lead commentator is saying, but he kind of like sticks to his guns a bit. And I noticed that with the Sky as well. I don't know if you've noticed it, Leon, but for example, in the Canelo Jacobs fight, when Coldwell was there, like assistant kind of commentator, he'd like jump in now and again. He would kind of shit on Froch a bit and say, "Yeah, I completely disagree with you, Froch," and then explain the reason why.
Pulling big for Canelo, wasn't he?
Yeah, and like he'd explain the reason why, and I like he'd proper put Froch on the spot and make Froch look like an idiot, and which he was, because like some of the shit Froch was coming out with was ridiculous. And when Coldwell's not like got a dog in the race, when it's not someone he manages or someone he fights or someone he knows and is friends with, he's very good. He's independent. But when, you know, it's someone he knows, he becomes a company man. But independently, he's pretty good for Coldwell.
Yeah, I think most of the Sky guys are half decent on international fights.
Yeah, 100%.
When they're on the international fights, they're fine. It's just they can't be trusted to do their own work over here. It's
like
ridiculous.
when they'll get like Bellew to co-commentate on a Liverpool fighter like Fowler or something.
Yeah, what's the fucking point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's not going to be critical, is he?
No.
But Cam, you know, the thing is, like with commentary, especially when you're judging a fight, like it's one of those things where your authenticity is like, it's so out there and it's so evident that there's no room to hide. Like for me, it's very easy to hear somebody who's authentic and somebody who's not. And the thing about Goosen is a real motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
Goosen is as real as they come. The guy, in the way he talks, and I'm not just even talking about his technical commentary, which is good, but I'm talking about just him in general. The way he speaks, he's real. On camera, he's real. He's not faking it. He's not trying to be anything else. He's just being himself. And that is what I like. And you see with guys like Mora, he's not being himself. It comes across as so fake what he's doing. He's probably read a couple of books about commentary or watched a couple of fucking football games, and then he thinks he needs to add a little bit of spice to whatever he's saying to make it authentic. It just comes across as fake, cringy, and it doesn't work. You know what I mean? This is why, for example, Mauro Ranallo is, even though he's a talented commentator, is just cringy as well, because he's not authentic. He's manufacturing excitement in there with the proverbial jackhammer jab. Like, nobody talks like this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not real, man. Like, and this is another reason why, for example, Carl Frampton was so great, because it literally felt like you were watching a fight with Carl Frampton next to you, and he's just talking you through the fight, right? He talks exactly the same as if he's doing an interview. It's just being Carl. And it works very effectively. So, and the zone is all about trying way too fucking hard. Like, oh, let's get these two guys with hip hats and, you know, make it look cool. Well, it's not cool. I mean, it's just fucking bad. But okay, rant over.
Regarding Frampton, like, even though he knew Taylor and like they were friends, and former stablemates in both training and with Cyclone. Like he was independent as well. Like he was bigging up Baranchek when he needed to, and like he was talking about mistakes where if that was Sky, like they wouldn't even said anything negative about his homie. So there you go. But I know Leon's got to step out. Chemo, Leon, anything else, or should we call it a night?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. Unless you've got something else, go on, Chemo.
No, mate, that's about it. I just wanted to touch on the commentary thing for a little bit, but yeah, I mean the upcoming fights, they're not really floating my boat, man. I really hope that we can at least get some good fights made in the near future, especially in the heavyweight division. But yeah, let's see how it plays out, man.
Cross all your fingers for that one, bro.
It's gonna be a slow summer.
Slow, but I think the past month, the fights that we've discussed today, I thought it was a decent month.
It's been okay. It's been okay, to be fair.
Yeah. All right.
I think I was disappointed by Canelo Jacobs. That's just the thing, because I thought the potential was good, but yeah.
Heard J-Rock made it up for me. Like I could watch that fight again tonight.
Yeah, that's a good fight.
Yeah. All right, Leon, Chemo, thank you for your time. Thanks to Lim as well, who also jumped on. Thank you to all the people in the Mixlr chat and all the people that download the show. We'll be back next month. Peace.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.
I did. Man, I love boxing. I fucking love boxing.
A big shout out to the Boxing Coalition.
You're a newbie.
No, I ain't new, man.
If my fucking next door neighbour became the #1 flymate in the world, you know what I'd do? I'd fucking walk past the cunt.
Derek, how you doing, bro?
I was physically burn you, blood.
I disagree.
First time I hear the show, man, it was fucking badass.
Vamos a Argentina, la concha de su madre.
I see the bomb in him.
I get home and she's like, what the fuck? Me and the kid are here. Why don't you get home and talk to us? I'm like, man, you guys don't know shit about boxing.
Kel, how does it feel to be the new IBF champion?
Feels great. Did we really dive into the black hole right off the jump?
I think he's hiding glass. Just to play devil's advocate. You want 1 portion of crow or 2 portions of crow?
Give me 2 portions with a supersized fries and a large drink, please.
I can't stand him, what? I'm Scottish.
Cringe side?
But you won't rush Anthony fucking fat ass Joshua, would you?
He's not fat.
How about you tell us what you weigh for your final thoughts?
My weight?
Thank you for listening to the Boxing Coalition.
Well, he indicated to me that he was hitting the testicles.